Chapter 159. Tricky Yuezheng, who had been thinking that one more helper might work better, expressed his gratitude politely but refused his help. He stressed repeatedly, "Please tell Officer Qiao that it is my private affair, and it is a big taboo to use public forces to deal with private matters. It is not good to hire so many people, otherwise I will feel really guilty about it. Those senior people in the family would blame me for it too." Strategist Lu was startled as he smiled and nodded. "You are right, absolutely right. Young Master Xie, don't worry, I will never deal with private things using public forces, never." Strategist Lu informed County Magistrate Qiao about it, and the magistrate had to drop the idea of getting the staff to search for the plant or putting up the poster of offering prizes to those who found it. But he was not going to drop the idea of sucking up to the Xie family. So he dispatched a few servants and several trustworthy policemen to seek the same in the mountains. Then he gave Strategist Lu some money to look around the mountains with some reliable villagers. He even stressed that the young Master Xie did not want this known to others, so everyone who was looking for the Chinese fleece flower root should stay low-profiled rather than shout around. Otherwise they would be punished. Officer Qiao said to Madame Qiao happily, "There are so many mountains in the county. I believe that with so many people going into the mountains, they will definitely find one Chinese fleece flower root over 500 years old. If we find it..." County Magistrate Qiao started to dream as his eyes sparkled. "I heard that young Master Xie is planning to give the plant to Madame Xie, which should be a huge favor they would owe us." The Xie family and the court in the capital were very related to each other. The Xie family had enormous contacts in the capital, and Xie Jingrong's grandfather was a lord who was in grace. It would be easy for him to get a position in the capital when he did this favor for that man. Madame Qiao got excited as well. She crossed her fingers and said, "Please Buddha, please give us the blessing. If it happens, all will work out so well." Madame Qiao's eyes rolled as she smiled. 500 years or 400 years or less, the year is not fixed. It is just a Chinese fleece flower root that is old enough. As long as we can find one that is over 100 years old or just 50 years old, the Xie family would owe us a big favor anyway. That was such a treacherous thing to say. It basically meant that no matter whether the thing found was right or not, since they made some effort, they should receive some favor. Officer Qiao's eyes sparkled. He laughed. That is a good idea. After all, he was really willing to help young master, but it was never easy to find a Chinese fleece flower root over 500 years old. If he managed to find one less than 500 years old, it could still be handy for young Master Xie. It was the effort he was exerting. Young Master Xie was talented. He was young and could not stand being embarrassed. If they exchanged a few amiable words after this, the Xie family would definitely have to owe them a favor, no matter what. Chapter 160. Favored Madam. Whenever it was festival time, they could just give some presents to the Xie family. And that was how they would be able to actually shorten the distance between them two. The bigger Officer Qiao dreamed, the more he liked his wife. "You are such a smart helper." Madame Qiao smiled proudly. "We are one family and are bound together. Your honor will be my honor, so I have to pay attention to your affairs." "You are so good, haha." Officer Qiao laughed loudly. Early in the morning, Qiao Xian spread the seeds of some plants with Ms. Su and Xiao Taotao, before heading to the town with Xiao Yunduan. In order to show enough importance to the matter, Qiao Xian found an appropriate-sized box from her useless dowry, and put the 500-years-old Chinese fleece flower root inside it. Yuezheng Xiao had told them about their lodge when they bid farewell to each other the last time. So Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian headed directly to the hotel once they reached the town. Yuezheng Xiao and Xie Jingrong had been resting at the hotel due to the strenuous mountain climbing a couple of days ago. Hearing about their visit, Yuezheng Xiao smiled and asked his servant to invite the couple in. Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian were here to deliver the Chinese fleece flower root. Xie Jingrong was overjoyed and also surprised. He thanked them again and again after seeing the large-sized, fresh-smelling plant, and headed to Mingrantang along with them for Manager Qin to identify the age of the plant. Manager Qin was dumbfounded as well. He had never expected that they really could find the Chinese fleece flower root. He had dispatched many people from the pharmacy, and entrusted experienced hunters and farmers to go into the mountains, Yet everyone failed to find anything. These two they were just so lucky. Manager Tian exclaimed in joy when he saw the size. I have seen many Chinese fleeceflower roots. This size should definitely be over 300 years old. Xiao looked very happy. 300 years old would be okay. If 500 years old one could not be found. Xiao smiled and said calmly, Manager Tian, look carefully again. Okay. Manager Tian nodded and started to observe the roots and stems carefully, trying to distinguish every single detail. They had no other devices to test the age, and the manager had to discern it with only his eyes. Over the years he had become very good at distinguishing the plant's age. 15 minutes later, Manager Tian nodded with a flushed face. Alright, this Chinese fleeceflower root is definitely over 500 years old, no doubt. Really? Let me take a look at it. Yuezheng, Xiao and Xiao spoke up simultaneously. One of them thanked Xiao and Xiao out of politeness, whilst the other looked at the Chinese fleeceflower root curiously, as if hoping that it would bloom. That was a Chinese fleeceflower root over 500 years old. It was such a rare thing. The entire group was happy after they left Mingren Tang. Xiao invited the couple to have a drink at the tea house, whilst his servant had run back to the hotel to fetch the gift. Soon the servant came over. Xiao opened the brocade box, and there was a jade lying in an apricorn-colored brocade. It looked so white and pure, showcasing some bright circles around it. It was definitely not cheap. Xiao smiled. Thank you so much, young Master Xiao and Mrs. Xiao. If you ever need my help, please bring this jade to the Xie family, and I will do all I can to give you a hand. Chapter 161. Xiaoxian's used the Xie family was going to use the Chinese fleeceflower root to put in the medicine for Madame Xie. Money was never going to be enough to pay back this favor. That was why Xiao offered something else. He could tell that the couple did not lack money, or at least, they were not worried about wealth. Xiao was the cultivated talent, and he was going to participate in the examination next year. Maybe he could go further than that. At that time, he probably would need the Xie family's help. The Xie family would be willing to give him a hand, as long as it was legal. That was why he gave them the jade, which was precisely what Xiao and Xiao needed more than anything else. If it had been a hunter who delivered the Chinese fleeceflower root, he would have offered him the money. Xiao and Xiao were glad. The Xie family was a noble family and young Master Xie knew exactly what they needed. Thanks. Xiao accepted the gift generously. He did not need it, but Xiao definitely wanted it. If Officer Qiao and the whole family were to treat her badly in the future, Xiao would definitely make use of this jade. Officer Qiao was a clever man, and he would never expect that a concubine's daughter could ever make the Xie family help her. Xiao exchanged a few polite words and developed some good feelings towards Xiao. He really liked people such as him, who were sharp and direct. Yuezheng smiled. Now that the goal is achieved, we are relieved. I will treat you both for lunch today. Xiao nodded alongside. Xiao and Xiao did not turn them down. Xiao had the intention of befriending them, whilst Xiao had no intention of cutting off the relationship, so the couple accepted the invite graciously. The four of them ate lunch at restaurant Yanhe before Xiao and Xiao left. During lunchtime, Xiao reached an agreement with Yuezheng, telling him to wait for a little longer, since she had a commodity to show him. She wondered if he was interested. Yuezheng was very interested and accepted the proposal directly. When they went home, Xiao gave the brocade box to Xiao. You can keep it. Xiao smiled. Really, for me? I think that you need it more than I do. I trust that you can become a recommended man. What if you get bullied? You can keep the jade. This can ensure that everything goes fairly in the future. Xiao felt his heart become warm. He smiled gently. No one would dare to do anything about the village examination, and I barely go out or have any conflict with anyone. You keep it, so you don't have to be at the mercy of Madame Qiao and her daughter. Xiao accepted the brocade box after hearing that. Okay, I will keep it, and we will use it when needed. Xiao felt really comfortable when he heard her saying we. He nodded with a smile. Okay. Xiao smiled. I will stop here. I need to do some work. You should get back to your studies. I am going to make the commodity and show it to young Master Yuezheng. If he likes it, we will have another way of making money. The more money they had, the wider the road would be, and the stronger they would become as well. In this way, she would be able to get rid of the Qiao family permanently. Also, she was going to live more happily as well. Chapter 162 Lipsticks. Xiao Yunduan smiled. Okay, go ahead. He had no idea what other strange thing she was going to work upon. Xiao Yunduan was confused. Exactly how many strange books had she read? Xiao Xian was about to say something when she ended up smiling. Then I will be off now. Saying so, she ran away. She had no time to waste. There was only half a day left. Xiao Xian asked Xiao Taotao to give her a hand. Xiao Xiaoqi joined them too, when he saw them in a frenzy. The three of them came to the floral field and plucked pink roses. There were 3 colors of roses: pink, rosy and orange. Xiao Xian had used her superpower secretly, so the flowers bloomed and the fragrance became stronger. It was the flourishing time for the roses in May. Xiao Xian had tried to keep control of the growth, yet she could not control nature's vitality too much. Moreover, she needed to get down to making lipsticks as soon as possible. If she used her superpower, the roses would keep blooming until the end of June. Apart from these, there were China roses which bloomed throughout the year. Soon they would also witness pomegranate flowers. Those were enough for her to make lipsticks. It was very easy to pick flowers, and the brother and sister soon had a basket filled with flowers. They poured the flowers into the basket next to Xiao Xian before going back to pick some more. Xiao Xian grabbed all the petals and put them into another basket. Then she put the petals into jars, one handful after another, grinding them. The juice was extracted, filtered and mixed with the beeswax in a jar, while some almond powder bought from the pharmacy as well as some seed oil which had been laced with her superpower was put inside. She stirred it smoothly. Then she poured the liquid into a mold and smoothed away the top. After that, she carefully put the whole thing into the lipstick tube and zipped up the opening. With that, one lipstick was done. Xiao Xian had the itch of using that lipstick immediately. It looked smooth and bright, fresh and tender, giving out the fragrance of roses. Perfect. It took almost 2 hours before the whole thing was done. It was evening when the first batch was finished. In the end, they had 12 tubes of lipsticks. They all had the same color, a beautiful, deep pink shade. She was going to fetch red roses and deep red-colored China roses as well as orange-color roses for another batch respectively. With that, all the samples would be done. She was going to mix the colors so different shades of lipsticks could be made. And she could even make use of different kinds of mountain flowers. Wild flowers growing in different seasons for all kinds of lipsticks. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were confused when they saw the strange thing that their adorable 5th sister-in-law had made. 5th sister-in-law, what is it? Is it for fun? Xiao Xiaoqi asked after some time. It was not food, apparently, but was it a toy? How could it be a toy? Xiao Xiaoqi really could not fathom what it was. Xiao Taotao blinked in confusion as well. Xiao Xian smiled. That is called lipstick. Same as a blusher but for lips. Xiao Xiaoqi was still confused, but Xiao Taotao's eyes brightened. Aha! She finally realized what it was. 5th sister-in-law, is it for lips? It looks so good, beautiful and convenient. Xiao Taotao cheered excitedly. Chapter 163 Achievements. No girl could resist such a novel thing. Xiao Taotao's eyes sparkled as she looked at the lipsticks in Xiao Xian's hands. She could not help but feel excited. Her eyes were conveying only one thing. She really wanted to try it. Taotao is right. Xiao Xian said. We can make some more these days. Taotao, I will give you one of each color, as well as 41 a day for all your hard work. Thank you, 5th sister-in-law. Xiao Taotao cheered. I don't need a salary, these lipsticks will be enough for me. She had hoped to get only one, because she knew that lipstick would be expensive, and it would be sold for money. But she did not dare to say a thing. She would like one in each color, because the lipsticks looked really beautiful. You are working for me, so you should be given a salary. My sister-in-law should be dressed pretty and wear beautiful makeup. Xiao laughed. Xiao Taotao flushed out of shame. You are laughing at me. No, no, I am not. You are very beautiful and the lipstick will make you look even more so. The two girls were talking happily among themselves, but Xiaoqi was still confused. After a long while, he found himself remarking, so this lipstick is to dab the lips, but that would make people look like monsters. Xiaoqi could not understand the concept of lipstick. What do you mean? You know nothing. Xiao Taotao glared at him. Lipsticks work better than lip flushers. It is a very good thing. Xiao Taotao looked obsessed. Fifth sister-in-law, you are so clever and so capable. Xiaoqi. He scratched his head, not daring to say anything that might make his sister displeased. But could these lipsticks really make money? He was very confused. However, he was even less sure when he saw how excited his sister and fifth sister-in-law were looking. In one word, women were so strange. The following day, Xiao Taotao, Xiaoqi and Ms. Su started to work in the floral field early in the morning. They were loaded with a lot of work. They had to make rosy, dark red and orange-colored lipsticks within the day. The three of them were responsible for picking petals, cleaning, and grinding. Xiao Taotao was a fast learner, so Xiao even let her filter the juice, whilst Xiao was engaged in other processes. Xiao was thinking about buying some more things when she had more money, since grinding petals was a very difficult task. She wanted to get 3 jade-like small grinders to grind the petals, which should be easier than grinding by hand. They needed to improvise other tools as well. At the end of the day, everything was coming together nicely. They not only had lipsticks, but Xiao even made 2 lip balms with mint and gardenia flavor. It was a cream with light green and yellow color, very good for moisturizing the lips. Xiao Taotao loved all of them. Her eyes were sparkling when she saw the lipsticks. Ms. Zu's eyes were sparkling too, but she was trying to press down the eagerness. She could not afford to use such a thing, and would feel embarrassed if she applied it. She could ask the fifth sister-in-law for 1 lipstick and put it on in her room. The lip balm was also enticing, which should be good to put on since it was transparent. Xiao was quite generous. She gave each of them 1 lipstick of every kind. Xiao Taotao cheerfully accepted them with gratitude. Chapter 164. Ms. Fang's intention. Ms. Su, who did not have the courage to accept it, heard Xiao's smiling voice. Just take it, elder sister-in-law. Lip balm can be used every day, it is colorless. You can also put on lipsticks to make yourself look much more attractive. You can even give it to someone else as a present. I will go into town and visit the flusher store so I can buy some skin cream for you, which together with a lipstick, will make you look much healthier. Motivated, Ms. Su thought about giving one to her own sister and sister-in-law. It would be a very practical thing to add to her face. So she thanked her and accepted the gifts with a smile. When they came home from the floral field, they ran into Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma, who were still pestering the family about the spring plowing. The 2 women were so angry but could not say a thing. They tried to reason with Ms. Fang. Ms. Fang looked calm and replied the same thing over and over again. We have drawn contracts, you don't need to worry about anything. I will take the responsibility if your fields are ruined. That made Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma even more annoyed. It was the spring plowing. What if the plow is postponed and they had nothing to harvest before autumn? They would have to starve. Of course, they were really anxious. What was Ms. Fang planning? Seeing their anxious look, Ms. Fang felt really glad within her heart. She was going to make them become even more anxious, so they would have no heart to eat or sleep. Seeing Xiao return, Ms. Ma could not help but throw her temper at her. What are you doing outside every day? No daughter-in-law should behave like this. You are so ill-mannered. Xiao chuckled and blinked. Third aunt-in-law, my mother-in-law approves of my idling outside. She loves me. Ms. Fang sneered and snorted. Yes, I love to see my daughters-in-law having fun, and they can do whatever they want. I am quite satisfied with them. They are so kind and well-behaved. Ms. Ma was so irritated that she was speechless. Ms. Fang was being so arrogant because she had a good daughter-in-law. Well, it seemed that a rich, good daughter-in-law could make people arrogant. That made her feel even worse. Without the intention of speaking with them any more, Ms. Fang said impatiently, you can go home now. I have already promised you. What are you afraid of? Do you not trust me? Ms. Niu forced a smile. That is not true. Well, okay then. Ms. Niu, we will wait until you fulfill your promise. You won't starve us, right? Otherwise, we will have to come to your home to eat. Ms. Fang laughed. Are you still asking again when you know about this already? Ms. Niu. Ms. Fang added. But you are wrong. I have only taken responsibility for your rakes, not anything else. Don't come to me no matter whether you have food to eat. You can't keep taking advantage of us all the time. Ms. Niu was stuck in words. When the two women left, Xiao told Ms. Fang about lipsticks. Ms. Fang did not have much knowledge of it except that it did look exquisite, and made her speak highly of it. It is going to sell well, right? Xiao nodded. Definitely. Cheerfully, Ms. Fang said. Okay, only you are able to come up with an idea like this. Keep the money well, and don't tell anyone. Of course, Mom. Ms. Fang smiled and stressed that to Ms. Su, who promised her as well. She was not going to counter her mother-in-law. Chapter 165. Bad for money. Although she was very jealous of her fifth sister-in-law who kept making a lot of money, she knew pretty well that she was not capable enough to do the same all by herself. Therefore, she was envious, yet happy in the present situation. After all, when fifth sister-in-law made a fortune, she was benefiting from it too. Moreover, fifth sister-in-law had told her that there would be numerous tasks for them to do in future, and she would be paid for all the work, like the 40 when she received today. She gave 21 to the shared savings, and the remaining 21 was left for her. Xiao was cooking dinner tonight as a celebration of what they had achieved in the daytime. They still had one duck remaining at home. They bought 2 ducks a couple of days ago, one for the Dragon Boat Festival, and the other one was kept for this day. The duck meat was minced and the garlic sprouts and green peppers were chopped. The peanuts in the rice pot were fried until they became crispy. Then the peanuts were smashed and stir-fried together with the rest. Some steamed buns were also made which could be eaten with the fried duck meat. The others were cut into slices and stewed with the sun-dried bamboo shoots for soup. They scooped out 2 carps from the tank in the backyard and fried them on 2 sides. They added clear water, chopped pickles, and cooked it with dried chilies. Another fat catfish was taken and stewed with fresh eggplants. The catfish was fat but not greasy, and the eggplants had a strong fragrance. The 2 dishes complemented each other. Then a plate of dry beans and a plate of cold garlic lettuce were made alongside, which was good with the meat. Whenever Xiao was cooking, everyone in the family was so glad, especially Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing, who had no idea what was being cooked, yet they knew that their fifth sister-in-law was making good things. Seeing the fish and meat served on the table, eldest uncle was really concerned about the spending. The fish was all right, but what about the duck? How could they kill ducks when it was not festival time? They were villagers. They should not live like this. The money could not be used to live such a spoilt life. But he said nothing when he looked at Xiao. She had always said that she bought these with her dowry, and there was no way for him to counter it. Therefore he could only eat the food and feel guilty for his brothers. The following day, Xiao asked Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao to accompany her to the town. She did not want Xiao Yunduan to come along. Xiao Yunduan's main mission was to study, and he could not possibly travel with her all the time. Also, he did not have to go along this time. She had told Yuezheng Xiao that she would bring the lipsticks to him. That was all. She was determined that Xiao Yunduan had to agree to her proposal. He kept reminding her to conceal her face, so the Qiao family would not notice her. The 3 of them entered the town and went to the hotel. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao had never met such handsome and noble-looking young masters, so they felt a bit restrained. They were both dumbfounded. Xiao stabilized them. She needed their help in the future, and needed to bring them along to experience the world, so that they could gradually get better. It was normal for village people to meet city noble young masters, and react like this for the first time. If she needed to broaden their horizons, she would need them to move around more often. What have you brought for me, Mrs. Xiao? Let me have a look. Yuezheng Xiao said happily. He was very curious. Second miss of the Qiao family was a lot of fun. Xie Jingrong was present there as well. He was curious too, but he was not as unrestrained as Yuezheng Xiao. Xiao smiled. I only bring good things to you, young master Yuezheng. Chapter 166. Yuezheng Xiao's appearance. She opened a long, rectangular box. Yuezheng Xiao and Xiejingrong turned to look at it subconsciously. What is it? It was a white porcelain tube depicting various flower patterns in the size and length of a finger. What was this? Yuezheng Xiao was a well-informed person, but he was very confused at the moment. Xiejingrong blinked and was confused too. Xiao smiled and took out one lipstick. She removed the lid and twisted the tube. A rose-colored, creamy-looking stick came out of the tube gradually. The top of the cream was smooth and gentle, looking very beautiful. What is this? Something I made. I call it lipstick. Xiao smiled and explained. Something like a lip flusher, but much more handy. Qi, come here. Xiao summoned Xiaoqi, who came to her with a nod. She had a husband and Tao was also a maiden, so she could not possibly show her hand generously to other men. It would make her look less virtuous. So Qi had to do that work. Xiao pulled Xiaoqi's hand. She told him to make a fist and pasted it over the back of his hand. A touch of shining rose color could be seen. Look at this, young master Yuezheng. Isn't it convenient? I have other various colors apart from this. Also, don't worry, all the materials used in this are safe. They can be put on without any concern. This is so wonderful. It is great. Yuezheng Xiao was born in a business family which did not deal with cosmetics, but he could tell that the goods in front of him were going to be really popular. His eyes sparkled and he got excited. He could imagine that once this thing called lipstick was put out in the market in the city, it would draw the attention of many noble ladies, madams and girls. This looked much better than lip flushers. No one would want to use lip flushers when they had a tube of this. Yuezheng Xiao was a straightforward person, so he said to Xiao, Mrs. Xiao, I will take all of your lipsticks. Give me as many as you have currently. We can also sign a contract where I want you to supply your lipsticks just to me. Don't worry, I will give you the best price. You will not be tricked, I promise. Xiao had been thinking that he would be interested in lipsticks, but she had not expected that the deal would be signed so smoothly. But this was exactly what she was looking for. Xiao had been thinking about the buyer after she decided to make lipsticks. She was not going to expose herself for sure. It wasn't easy to find a buyer, because that person had to exceed her father's position. The person also needed to be straightforward, honest, and open-minded about using all kinds of channels. Yuezheng Xiao's appearance solved her problem. First of all, this man did not think highly of her father, which was what pleased her a lot. Moreover, Xiao more or less understood his personality. For example, he never looked down at her or Xiao Yinduan, and treated them equally and politely. Also, on the day when they were seeking shelter from the farmer's family, he even accepted the ginger soup from that farmer's wife politely and expressed his gratitude to her. Not every rich man would be as well-mannered as him. Since he did not need to pretend to be this polite, it showed that his behavior was real then. It came to Chinese fleeceflower root. A Chinese fleeceflower root over 500 years old was so rare that he only spoke highly of it, rather than showing any greed. Chapter 167. Straightforward people. Xiao believed that no one was better suited than him as her collaborative partner. Since he was being straightforward, Xiao was going to be the same too. She said with a smile, Okay. I don't have sales channels, and I want to work with young Master Yuezheng as well. I just have one condition, that you should never tell anyone that I am your supplier, especially not my father and my lineal mother. Yuezheng Xiao nodded in agreement. He had already noticed that she did not have a good relationship with her lineal mother and sister. He checked lipsticks of other colors as well as the lip balm which could be used by everyone. He was very surprised. Xiao smiled and took out 2 smaller brocade boxes, each of which held 2 lip balms, and gave them to Yuezheng Xiao and Xiejingrong. These are just small things, don't dislike them. Yuezheng Xiao laughed and accepted the box, as Xiejingrong lowered his head and expressed his gratitude. Both sides included straightforward people, and that made the deal go smoothly. Soon they came to an agreement. Yuezheng Xiao would supply them with the lipsticks tubes, and would also provide porcelain, jade, crystal for the tubes so that they could look better. He was also going to hire some designers to make the patterns on the lipstick tubes. Xiao could not ask for anything more. She told him to build some tools, which Yuezheng accepted directly. He did not intend to charge her for any of this. Yuezheng paid 2 liang for one lipstick to Xiao, but the price was going to be kept fluid in the future. It would change according to the market, and could be adjusted every half a year. Xiao had no objection, because all these conditions were very good for her. Xiao expressed her gratitude for the pricing of 2 liang per lipstick. Lipsticks were handy compared to the lip blushers, but they were not very precious. They were just novel items. Therefore, the pricing had to be reasonable. Also, Xiao did not spend much on making these lipsticks. She used her own flowers and beeswax. The labor fee was the biggest expense, but 2 liang for one lipstick was already well enough in her budget. Yuezheng would sell each lipstick for 4 or 5 liang. Moreover, he would raise the price of the lipsticks when they were sold in the capital or flourishing cities in the south. But he also needed to make an account of the cost he was going to spend on the process. At the moment, this was the most suitable way for Xiao to earn money. Since the deal had been made, they signed the contract directly and came to an agreement regarding the delivery time of the first batch of goods. Xiao had 50 lipsticks and lip balms in 4 colors this time. She gave them all to Yuezheng as gifts. She was giving them full-heartedly for the purpose of marketing. These things were expensive for others, but for her, she had not really spent any money on them. It was a good way for her to obtain the favor of Yuezheng and the Yuezheng family. She intended to have a long-lasting business with the Yuezheng family, since he had a huge supply channel. Yuezheng and Xiejingrong were startled by her generosity. These boxes were worth 100 liang. Even in the noble family, 100 liang was not a small figure, and noble young masters with a relatively ordinary position in the family would only have 10 or 20 liang every month. For farmers, 100 liang was not a small figure. Xiao gave it out just like that? They could see that she was not being polite on the surface. Yuezheng could not help but admire the generosity of this lady. He felt lucky inside his heart, and whispered to himself that Mrs. Xiao was a good business partner that one would not find so easily. Chapter 168. Nice to fifth sister-in-law. Yuezheng did not want to take advantage of Qiao. In the end, Qiao accepted 50 liang, half for each box, showing sincerity to both sides. Yuezheng could not help but smile. "Oh right, Mrs. Xiao, if you have other proposals, please consider me as your business partner first. I promise that you will never be tricked or treated unfairly." Xiao smiled. "Great, young master Yuezheng. I don't have any other business partner, apart from you. I can't just establish business relationships with anyone easily." Yuezheng laughed. "That is true." He said that he would visit her home someday, and Xiao agreed readily. There was nothing interesting around Shading Village, and he would naturally not come over. Xiao thought that it was just polite words, so she just said yes. Without Xiao Yunduan around, Yuezheng did not ask Xiao to stay for lunch. So Xiao left with Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao soon afterwards. The brother and sister were still in shock. Xiao Taotao was especially in a daze. After a while, she mustered her courage and said to Xiao, "Fifth sister-in-law, when I reach home, I will return the lipsticks and lip balms to you. I will keep the used ones, because I never knew it would be so valuable, otherwise, she would not have taken in so many of them. 2 liang for one. Not 2 qian or 21, it was for 2 liang. Just keep them." Xiao interrupted her before she finished her words. She smiled as she took her hands. "It is not expensive for us. Also, we have plenty of money right now already, don't we? But we can make them easily. If you like them, just keep them, no worries." Xiao Taotao thought for a while and believed that she was right. She really loved those lipsticks and did not want to give them back. She smiled bashfully. "Then I will keep them. Thank you, fifth sister-in-law." Xiao Taotao was so moved. Fifth sister-in-law was wealthy and capable of making money, and was even paying her own family for all the work, which was already quite rare. Moreover, she gave out such valuable things without hesitation. She did not think that their elder sister-in-law would do the same. So she was going to be very kind to her fifth sister-in-law. Xiao smiled. You can tell Mom about this matter, but not others, all right? We have many opportunities to make money, and you may be in charge of making the lipsticks. I will teach you and you should focus and learn properly. Hearing Xiaoxian's words, Xiao Taotao was shocked. Xiao Xiaoqi was shocked too. But fifth sister-in-law, that is your money-making idea. How can you teach me the method? Xiao Taotao panicked. Xiao Xiaoqi nodded too. Honestly, craftsmen only passed on skills through generations, and even if they needed disciples, the disciples would need to work for years as slaves before being able to get the real knowledge. More so, the master would never give out the knowledge unless he was satisfied with the disciples. But fifth sister-in-law was ready to pass on the knowledge so casually. Xiaoxian was not dominated by the values and ideas in this era, and she laughed. Of course I am passing it on to you. I would be very grateful if you could help me in doing this business. Chapter 169 County Magistrate Qiao shocked. The brother and sister were shocked. Xiao Taotao became excited. Fifth sister-in-law, I will definitely try my best, and I will never pass the secret out to anyone else, I promise. Xiaoxian smiled. Okay, I believe you. Overjoyed, Xiao Taotao was immediately filled with strength and confidence. It was like a dream. She had never expected that she would experience such an opportunity one day like this. No wonder their mother called fifth sister-in-law the lucky star of the family. She deserved the title. When such a big deal was done, and money was earned, they decided to hold a good celebration for dinner. Xiaoxian bought some pork. When she saw the liver and kidneys, she started to drool for them, and took some home as well. Then she bought a lot of ingredients for making braised vegetables, such as large and small fennel, star anise, cinnamon, bay leaves, licorice, dried tangerine peel, etc. This was to be boiled in the brine to make a pot of braised vegetables. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were both excited again. The fifth sister-in-law is going to make delicious food to eat. While Xiaoxian and others arrived home, Yuezheng told his servant to inform County Magistrate Qiao that he was leaving the following day. He was here to seek a Chinese fleece flower root. Now that he had managed to get it, it was time for them to go home. His grandma was waiting for the plant to add to the medicine. County Magistrate Qiao had received him well before. Out of politeness, he should inform the official about his departure. Yuezheng decided to hurry home too. He needed to start the business of lipsticks. He intended to make it a part of his private business. He did not intend to share it with his family. His family was not at peace. When County Magistrate Qiao heard the message, he was shocked. He was leaving already? He and Strategist Liu had a discussion about who came to the hostel for a visit. Strategist Liu asked implicitly why Yuezheng was leaving so suddenly. Wasn't he here to find a 500-years-old Chinese fleece flower root? Yuezheng decided not to conceal the truth. He smiled. I am lucky to have found the requisite plant, so it is time for me to go home. Strategist Liu was shocked. You are indeed lucky. But where did you get the Chinese fleece flower root? I mean, there are many tricky farmers here in the mountains, and I am worried that you may have been tricked. Our old master is the officer here, and if he can help you check it out, maybe its authenticity could be checked. What do you think, young Master Xia? Strategist Liu was indeed a loyal servant of Officer Qiao. He was very devoted and always tried his best to help his master. He could even find an opportunity to help his officer on such an occasion. But he didn't stop to consider that Yuezheng, the lineal, eldest grandchild of the Xia family, was well educated despite the fact that he had never taken the imperial examination. A strategist like him could never trick a talent like him. If he was so stupid, how could the Xia family have allowed him to go out alone? The Xia family would be worried about the trouble that might be brought about. Yuezheng had seen through Strategist Liu's plan. Officer Qiao was trying to make the Xia family owe him a favor. How shameless that man was. How could Second Miss have a father like him? No thanks. Yuezheng replied briefly. He did not even want to speak another word with Strategist Liu and asked his servant to see him off. Chapter 170 Shameless. Strategist Liu found him absent-minded. and realized that he was trying to turn him down. He did not dare to make a scene in front of him. He pretended to put on a smile and left. He hurried back to the governmental office and passed on the message to Officer Qiao. Officer Qiao was disappointed and also a little anxious. The Xie family was a first-class family, and when he saw such a great opportunity slipping away in front of him, he felt heartbroken. Officer Qiao went to Madame Qiao and asked her for an idea. His wife was a good helper. She has come up with many good ideas during these years. He was so anxious that he went to ask her what opinion she had. Madame Qiao found it a waste too. Young Master Xie is so lucky. How can he get a Chinese fleece flower root over 500 years old so fast? Which unruly man got it for him? He should have passed the message to you first when he found a great thing like this. We must find out who that person is and punish him. Also, young Master Xie got that precious thing here in the county, and you are the officer, he should thank you too. Madame Qiao sounded so shameless when she said this. Officer Qiao was the officer of the county, but he was not a man with endowment. Why must he examine everything that was discovered out of the land? But an ambitious man like him did not find anything wrong about it. He agreed with his wife totally. What can we do? Madame Qiao thought for a while and said, Old master, don't we have a Chinese fleece flower root under 100 years old? We can give it to young Master Xie tomorrow when they leave. It could be given as a farewell gift we are presenting, correct? They did obtain a Chinese fleece flower root, which was huge. So he asked someone to confirm the age, which was between 50 to 100 years old. Officer Qiao kept the plant and decided to have this delivered, if he truly could not find the right one. Madame Qiao's words motivated him. Yes, they could just give a present, no matter what. Young Master Xie would be forced to treat it as a favor. If that young man asked for confirmation from others, he could just get someone to tell him that it was over 200 years old, which was precious enough. Young Master Xie would owe him big, when he had such a precious thing delivered to him. He would definitely accept the present when he presented it the next day. Young Master Xie would have no time to turn it down. Officer Qiao found this idea to have merit. He greeted his wife and said, This is good. My darling, you have come up with such a great idea. Madame Qiao was proud too. Women should treat their husbands well. I am doing this for you, old master. You are the supporter of the family. She took this opportunity and begged for mercy on behalf of Qiao Wei. Wei is simply spoiled. She was annoyed with Xian, otherwise she would not have done that. Now she has admitted her mistake. Please don't ground her for any longer. Chapter 171 Dirty Shoes. Old Master, don't worry, I will definitely discipline her and she won't mess around anymore. Officer Qiao could not help but frown when he heard about Qiao Xian. He said disdainfully, The second miss is so useless. She won't achieve anything in her life. I can just give her up, but Wei is different. She is going to marry someone good in the capital, and she has to learn to behave well. Otherwise she will cause a lot of trouble in the capital. You have to learn how to rectify her temper properly. Hearing what he said, Madame Qiao was feeling both glad and proud. She had been making plans for years and Xiao Xian was now nothing in her husband's eyes. Well, that bitch was really nothing. She was not even good enough to hold Wei's shoes. Old master is right. I have not been cautious enough. I thought that a maid could do whatever she wants when she is at her own home, and that she will behave well when she is married. That is why I decided to spoil her a little. You are the one who treats Wei the best. Don't worry, old master. I will pass on your message to Wei. She will definitely understand your intention, and a kind girl like her would surely correct her mistakes. As for Qiao Xian, Madame Qiao said nothing more. There was no need to mention her at all. In her eyes, she was just a weed that would stain her shoes, after stepping on her. Officer Qiao was gratified. He sorted his beard and nodded. That is right. In the first section of the Xiao family at the village, the Chinese Masona picked from the day before was already planted in the floral corner of the field. Xiao Xian decided to make a meal to bring in the taste. That thing was very easy to make. The leaves were mashed, a double layer of cotton gauze was used to wrap it, and then it was rubbed in the basin with cold water. After rubbing and filtering twice, it would sit there for a couple of days. She also got a huge amount of mint leaves from Xiao, who minced it so as to extract some juice from it. She made a huge bowl of brown sugar and added some honey into the bowl. When the jelly was made, she carefully added 1 spoonful to the bowl, mixed it and added some brown sugar water, some mint juice and served it to everyone. Xiao was instantly attracted to the jelly-like texture, smooth and sweet. This is called jelly. So tasty, better than the pastry bought in the town. 5th sister-in-law, can we sell this too? There are still many Chinese masona in the mountains. We can use them. Yes, we can try that. Yet it is so tasty. Miss Fang was astonished as well. She ate 1 bowl and praised Qiao. You are really clever to find such a wonderful trick. It is a good snack during summer. Ms. Fang did not care if they had to use some sugar in it. Qiao served a bowl to Xiao, who was busy studying at home. She blinked and asked for praise. What do you think? Xiao took 1 bite and the sweetness went straight into his heart. He nodded. It is so tasty, no one else would be able to think of how to make something like this. That is right. Qiao was satisfied and proud too. Let me think more about this. Maybe we can add more ingredients for better taste. Mint and sugar were the fundamental things for jelly. Some other spices like raisins, chopped walnuts, almonds, shredded hawthorn, sweet red bean paste, milk, juice, chopped fresh fruits could also be added alongside. Xiao smiled. You will definitely figure it out. Chapter 172 The most steady protection. Qiao was even more pleased. She said with a smile. Eat it slowly, I have other work to do. We are going to have good food to eat tonight. Okay. Seeing Qiao leaving and closing the door, Xiao could not help but feel warm. She made him so happy when he saw her making different food every day with Tao. Their home was lively, bustling. It was such a comfortable feeling. Therefore, he was going to study harder and make it to the recommended man, so they could all be under the most steady protection. Xiao finished the bowl of jelly, which was sweet and fresh, and continued with his studies. Qiao and Xiao, when they finished the jelly, started to make braised meat. The room was filled with cheers and laughter. The whole family loved Qiao dearly. She only needed to give instructions, and everyone offered their help immediately. The dinner was a feast. Sour radish was diced, sour beans were cut, whilst chili and the marinated intestine were fried together. The smell of sour and spicy as well as fragrance started to spread all across. When thinking about salted duck eggs before, Qiao had bought several jars. She made some salted duck eggs and century eggs, and also pickled a jar of kimchi. White radish, beans, cabbage, lettuce, and ginger were all put in it as well. Everything was ready by this point to be eaten. Braised pork liver and ears were sliced, and pig trotters were placed directly on the plate whilst pork heart was stir-fried with garlic sprouts. Pork belly was stewed with soybeans and almonds for soup. It was a table full of braised food, as well as 2 fried vegetables. The fragrance spread across everyone's nostrils. People in the village rarely ate inner organs, since the taste was too heavy and difficult to handle. It took a lot of oil and seasoning to make it delicious. It was better to buy meat. After all, meat was fragrant no matter how deeply fried it was. Meat dregs when stir-frying were also delicious. It was a table full of pig inner organs, which changed their minds of how the inner organs could taste like. Again, Qiao was highly praised. They kept saying that the inner organs could also taste so good, better than meat. The hot and sour large intestines, crispy pig ears, fragrant and brightly colored braised pig trotters, and delicious pork belly soup were all delicacies for them. The following day, Qiao guided Xiao to make more lipsticks. Qiao used the excuse of visiting floral fields to inject her superpower there. Soon the roses and other flowers were blooming across the whole yard, giving off a fragrant smell. In the meantime, there were some fresh flowers that were budding. The garden was full of a beautiful sea of purple and red, making people feel really fresh. The bees were buzzing about and working hard. It would not be long before she could harvest honey again. The flowers in the yard were especially attractive to the bees, and the honey was produced in a large amount. Qiao could see 3 or 4 bees picking nectar from the flowers. When they were sorting the floral fields, She had made the plan and built a 2-story shabby room. The second story was for storage. There was one middle-size room on the first floor, whilst the other place had one wall, and 3 sides open like a workshop. Whilst the others were picking flowers, cleaning materials and grinding them, Qiao Xian was making lipsticks in the room filled with light. She asked Tao Tao to help her with everything. Since she intended to cultivate Tao Tao, she asked Tao Tao to come and learn how to do that right away. Qiao Xian did not hire anyone from the village, except for the task of flower picking and mincing. Moreover, she could just hire someone else to do other labor work. Chapter 173 Yuezheng Xiao's Sneering. But that was something for later, when they had built new houses. The yard at home was not big enough. While Qiao Xian was busy making money, Xiejingrong and Yuezheng Xiao were getting ready to leave the county. When they were just about to get on the wagon, strategist Lu hurriedly walked up to them. It was really very accurate timing. Strategist Lu had planned it meticulously. He had been waiting next to their place for a long while, before appearing at the right time. Young Master Xia, please stay put. Xiejingrong paused and turned around, looking surprised. Strategist Lu, it is very kind of you to see us off here. Strategist Lu smiled and said with a friendly tone, you are the honored guest, it is my duty to do so. He did not dare to say anything more but handed out an appropriate brocade box. Young Master Xia, this is the Chinese fleece flower root which our officer has found. It is confirmed that this plant is over 200 years old, which is very rare. Our officer says that he should not keep the treasure, and instead you should have it. Maybe it can be put into practical use by you. This way the good things would not be wasted. It is a gift from our officer, please accept it. Okay, I won't delay your departure. Have a nice trip, bye for now young Master Xia. Strategist Lu said all of this with a smooth smile. When he was done, the brocade box was already in the servant's arm. He took a step backwards and turned around leaving. He did everything really fast. Xiejingrong was speechless. Everyone present. The servant who was holding the box turned to Xiejingrong helplessly. What? Yuezheng Xiao laughed. He looked at Xiejingrong and grinned. Officer Qiao is fun brother Xia, now you owe him big. Honestly speaking, a Chinese fleece flower root over 200 years was indeed very rare. And Xiejingrong was taking that for his grandma. County Magistrate Qiao gave it to him so that the family could owe him a favor. Yuezheng Xiao sneered. What a tricky officer Qiao, so shameless and snooty. How did he manage to cultivate a daughter like Mrs. Xiao? Was he blind to have treated the elder Miss Qiao as treasure rather than look at Mrs. Xiao instead? No wonder Mrs. Xiao insisted that they should not reveal her identity. It would not be good. If Officer Qiao learned that it was Mrs. Xiao, who had found the 500 years old Chinese fleece flower root for the Xia family, he would have forced her to ask for the favor for him. What if he learned about the lipsticks business? He would definitely do something worse. Mrs. Xiao was such a pitiful girl. She must have led a very difficult life. Xiejingrong frowned, thought for a while and said to the servant, return the brocade box in the intact state to Officer Qiao personally. Just tell him that I have found the Chinese fleece flower root I needed, and I do not want to take advantage of Officer Qiao. Officer Qiao should keep it for himself. Having given the instructions, Xiejingrong turned around, went on the wagon and ordered the staff to leave. Yuezheng Xiao was not surprised by what Xiejingrong did. This young man looked gentle and handsome, almost as if he were weak, but he was the lineal elder grandson of the Xia family, who could never be simple-minded or fragile. He would never allow the Xia family to owe anyone a favor forcibly. No one could suck up to him easily either. Yuezheng Xiao teased him. But a 200 years old root isn't that bad either. Why not keep it for Officer Qiao's sake? Chapter 174 Badly mannered Xiejingrong looked at him and replied calmly. I don't think that this plant is over 200 years old. If that was the case, he wouldn't have waited until today to have it delivered to me. Moreover, I don't need it anymore. A plant over 200 years old was precious for sure. County Magistrate Qiao would have definitely not waited. Instead, he would have come to the hotel the moment he found it. He should stay away from this man as far away as possible. He already had one 500-years-old plant with him. What was the point of having another one that was less impactful? Startled, Yuezheng Xiao responded. Really? But can he really lie to us? The Xie family would definitely hire someone to test the plant. Xie Jingrong immediately countered. So what? He is not an expert, and maybe when he gets to know that he has got a wrong confirmation, he would prepare an expensive present and come to the Xie family, telling us that he was cheated as well. Yuezheng Xiao. How horrible are people in the official field. Xie Jingrong smiled as he tapped the table. That was why he never intended to take any more imperial examination. After he made it to the recommended man level, there was more than one person in the Xie family who could become active in the industry. On the other side, Officer Qiao, who had been waiting, was dumbfounded. Young Master Xie's servant did not smile, but showed a very distant look. He rode away the moment he returned the stuff. Officer Qiao felt really humiliated. He lectured strategist Lu with a blackened face, and then turned to Madame Qiao. Madame Qiao was taken aback as well. This can't be possible. How can one turn down a friendly gesture? You offered the present so generously. How could young master have done that? It is so badly mannered. Officer Qiao was annoyed too. Young Master Xie is really ill-mannered. I should have delivered the present personally. If he had gone there personally, young Master Xie would not have returned the present, right? But there was nothing else he could do apart from complaining at this moment. He was blaming young Master Xie for not being able to understand the situation. What a pity. Officer Qiao sighed and was annoyed too. He asked with a slight feeling of jealousy, who on earth found the 500-years-old Chinese fleece flower root and stole the favor from me? Madame Qiao felt annoyed too. If you want to know about this, carry out a thorough investigation. Young Master Xie must have offered them a great deal of money. Those narrow-sighted people might not have seen so much money before and would definitely show it off. No one would be able to conceal the secret of finding such an aged Chinese fleece flower root for long. It is easy to find the culprit this way. Officer Qiao thought for a while and nodded. Yes, I should definitely look into it. He should find out the culprit first, and maybe he could make use of that person to establish a relationship with the Xie family. Officer Qiao passed on the order to Strategist Lu. Strategist Lu took it as a way to compensate for his faults. He bragged that he was definitely going to find out the person within 3 days' time. He also believed that it would be so easy to figure it out. Anyone granted with such an amount of money would surely show off across the whole village. He could just ask the policemen from the governmental offices to ask around. However, 3 days passed, but there was no news about any such gains. There was not a single trace of that mysterious person. Strategist Lu, who had no way to go, had to report that back to Officer Qiao. Officer Qiao was so irritated. How could he have failed at such a minor mission? He asked his own men to ask around, but the result was the same. Chapter 175. Mouth Officer Qiao. Who was the person in the county that had such a wide knowledge and consideration? How did that person know that he should keep the matter a secret and make a fortune without making a scene? How horrible that person was. Officer Qiao had a desperate itch to know who that was. At the Xiao family, the first section of the family made the second and third section of the family feel really anxious. They did not dare to come to them to ask for wild animals and other benefits, even after they learned that Xiao Xiaoqi went into the mountains for hunting and Xiao Xian returned from the town. For one thing, Ms. Fang was so unfriendly at the moment, and they would not be able to get anything easily at the moment. For another, what if they irritated Ms. Fang so much that she would not want to help them with some rakes? Then what would they do? So they had to remain calm. Finally, Ms. Fang showed mercy and told them that she was going to help them with the rakes the following day. That made the other sections of the family feel assured. They let out a sigh of relief. When they calmed themselves down, they started to talk vividly. Oh, eldest sister-in-law, finally you remembered this. Eldest sister-in-law, you are so slow, you have been postponing the spring plow. Ask Dalong, Sanlang and everyone to be there early tomorrow, we need to hurry up. In fact, you should ask more people to help us. Wulong Qi, Ms. Su and Ms. Qiao should also be there. Ms. Fang's face sank and she sneered. Just leave from here. Are you telling me what I should do? Can't I suggest something? Ms. Ma's eyes rolled as she smiled. Oh, eldest sister-in-law, all of you are helping us with rakes. What other things does Ms. Qiao need to be done? We can do her work and get paid. Keep dreaming. Ms. Fang snapped. You always think about the benefits. Ms. Fang finally drove them away. Useless people, how dare they say something like this? Xiao heard her grumble and said with a smile, Mom, I just noticed that second aunt-in-law and third aunt-in-law got so angry about what you just said. You should feel happy about it. Ms. Fang laughed. True, you are right. The next day, the first section of the family were still busy with their work. Before second uncle and third uncle could ask them what was going on, they were startled to see that Ms. Fang had spent money hiring some family with bulls to do the work for them. Eldest sister-in-law, that is such a waste of money. People might have thought that they were concerned about the first section of the family spending their money. But Ms. Fang understood exactly what they were thinking. They thought that the money of the first section of the family was theirs, and they were always trying to get money out of them. They were so concerned about spending the money that should have been theirs. I am wasting my money, so what? The job is getting done. What more do you have to say? Second uncle opened his mouth. But your sons are free. I don't want my sons to work for you, so what? Look at the rakes. I have fulfilled my promise, and that is it. Third uncle countered. If you already had this plan, why not tell us earlier? Yeah, we have all been so worried. Chapter 176 Jealousy. Ms. Fang smiled briefly. Well, I didn't tell you earlier because I was worried about any unforeseen changes. Second uncle and third uncle suddenly ran out of words. They exchanged a look between themselves and left. They went into the field and started to watch the people doing the rakes. They had taken advantage of the first section of the family, but it felt as if they had turned hollow inside their hearts. They did not seem to feel that good. In fact, they started to feel even more jealous. They could not help but feel emotional. It was so good to be rich and have a rich daughter-in-law. But their eldest sister-in-law had coaxed Ms. Qiao for her dowry. She must be spending Ms. Qiao's money which she had brought to her own pockets. But that was her daughter-in-law. Ms. Qiao was so stupid as to have been cheated. Maybe they could even let their own daughters-in-law and daughters trick Ms. Qiao. When Xiao Yunduan returned from the school, he brought an invitation for Qiao. It was from the Qiao family. Xiao Yunduan did not turn it down directly and instead brought it home. Xiao Wei was setting up a feast for viewing flowers, and had invited Qiao for it. Qiao pursed her lips. She was indeed very uneasy about the invite. If you don't want to go there, you can turn it down with an excuse. Xiao Yunduan was annoyed too. He felt so horrible to see his wife being bullied, yet he could do nothing about it. He had been a calm person all through his life. He used to study hard for his parents so they could live a better life, that was all. But at this moment, he had developed a profound eagerness to accumulate power. If he could become stronger, just a little bit more powerful, he could do something about the situation. Xiao chuckled. Of course I will go there. She can't kill me, can she? I know what she is like. If I don't go over, she will make a big scene. Xiao Yunduan had predicted that she would react like this, so he added, I will go there with you. I will be waiting for you outside the mansion. Don't stay for too long, just find an excuse to leave early. Maybe young Master Xie's jade can be of some help. It could definitely be of some help. For someone like him who was going to participate in the imperial examination, he knew clearly what Xie Jingrong's jade could do. But he, without hesitation, let his wife have it. Xiao chuckled and suddenly found that this little person was lovely. She was so lucky to have found him. No, we should not use this jade for such small things. Don't worry, Qiao Wei is arrogant and incapable. I am capable of handling her. If she just wants to take advantage of me verbally, I won't react to it and laugh with her. If she dares to do something physically, I am not afraid of that, either. I am the second miss, which I can use to frighten people every now and then. This girl looked beautiful, confident and generous. Her eyes were sparkling, and she was so clever. Chapter 177 Invitation. Xiao Yunduan suddenly felt as if his heart had been attacked by something. It was a feeling of warmth, soft and heartful, which flowed all through his veins. Then you should be careful, and be sure to leave early. Qiao Xian smiled. Okay. 2 days later, Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan went into the town together. Qiao Xian was well aware that Xiao Wei would like to see what a terrible life she was having, so she picked an ordinary-looking cotton dress and did a hairstyle only for married women, inserting a small silver hairpin in it. Then she added 2 commonly seen flowers that were no more than the size of a coin. She liked the beautiful roses or China roses that were fresh and blooming in her hair in daily life. But now that she was wearing the silk flowers and checked herself in the mirror, she wasn't that bad looking either. From Qiao Wei's perspective, she was really poor. Qiao Xian was very satisfied by how she was dressed. At the Dragon Boat Festival, Xiao Wei was lectured by her father and had been grounded. She kept crying and felt really sad. A couple of days ago, her mother told her that the reason why her father disciplined her like that was because he had high expectations from her, and that made Xiao Wei very happy again. But when she thought of how Qiao Xian caused all this displeasure, she thought of inviting her for the flower show. The place where the flower show took place was in an abbey in the southern outskirts of the county. The abbey did not belong to the Qiao family, but a very wealthy businessman called Old Master Xiao. Old Master Xiao had a good field of over 800 mu as well as 2 large villages and 2 stores in the county. The family lived a very luxurious life. The Xiao family had been flattering Officer Qiao all this time, and the miss of the Xiao family, Xiao Ming, was Qiao Wei's follower. Hearing that Xiao Wei was coming to the abbey for the flower show, Xiao Ming was excitedly looking forward to the visit. Apart from these 2 ladies, she had invited some other ladies from noble families. Xiao Wei could not be too straightforward, and had Qiao Ko who would act as her foil. Qiao Ko had been feeling really annoyed by how Qiao Wei and Madame Qiao stopped her from meeting Yuezheng. She had even cursed them secretly, but that was all she could do since she had no power. Hence, in front of Madame Qiao, she still behaved like an obedient daughter of a concubine and a flattering follower of Qiao Wei. Qiao Wei and her mother were aware of how concubine Du and her daughter held a grudge towards them, but what could they do about it? A concubine as well as a lowly daughter could not do anything big anyway, right? They were nothing more than slaves. Qiao Ko would always have to obey Qiao Wei's rules and follow her orders no matter what. As for how Qiao Wei wanted to set Qiao Xian up, Qiao Ko became even more active and eager than Qiao Wei herself. She could not do anything about Qiao Wei, but she could definitely do something about Qiao Xian. Whenever she remembered that Qiao Xian was not living a good life, she felt slightly better. Therefore, it could be said that the dog was even worse than its master. Xiao Ming clearly understood what Qiao Ko said and had no opinions against that. She found it fun too. She was even waiting to see how Qiao Xian could be humiliated. Qiao Xian walked up to the abbey of the Xiao family under Xiao Yunduan's worried look. Instead of saying anything, she stuffed the invitation into the gatekeeper's hands. I am County Magistrate Qiao's daughter. Is my sister here? Can I go in? Gatekeeper. Chapter 178 Tricks. The gatekeeper's words that were meant to pick on her were all swallowed back. Qiao Xian showed the identity, and despite her ordinary-looking dress, she was still Officer Qiao's daughter, whom the gatekeeper should not mock without reason. Also, Second Miss seemed like someone who could not be irritated easily. What if she caught her fault and vented anger on her? Even her own miss would not defend her at that time. Therefore, the gatekeeper made up her mind and let Qiao Xian in. She pointed in a direction and showed a passionate smile. You are Second Miss, right? Elder Miss Qiao and Third Miss as well as my miss are all at the pavilion by the lake. Wisteria flowers are blooming. Please have a look and enjoy. Second Mississippi. What a trick. Qiao Xian immediately understood that there was something tricky in her words. She would not go there now that she had realized that something was wrong. Only stupid people would follow the direction. Qiao Xian said to the gatekeeper, I don't know the road. Can you please take me there? But Second Miss, Qiao Xian showed a strange smile. No. I am the guest here. Is it so difficult for you to take me there? Or do you think that I don't deserve your help? Of course not. The gatekeeper, who was an ant, had no choice but to lead Xiao to the venue. She was mumbling to herself while walking. Who said that second miss was honest, timid and easily tricked? That person must be lying. The aunt did not lead Xiao there directly, fearing that her mistress would blame her for not following the order. She took her on a tour, so she could at least complete her miss order. Xiao soon realized what this aunt was doing. But she said nothing. She did not care if she had to walk a little more. Moreover, she was not worried that the aunt would take her somewhere dangerous. She could see the whole abbey when she opened her magical senses. Nothing could escape her sight. She could sense where Qiao and the other ladies were, and what they were doing. Suddenly Xiao paused. She was both surprised and overjoyed. She saw 2 small tomatoes that were growing randomly in a corner. The 2 tomatoes were not growing in a healthy way and had collapsed. There were flowers and red fruits, but they were not very big in size. It was something the Xiao family had gotten from somewhere, but they could not recognize what these plants were, so they put them randomly in this place. No one would spend much effort planting fruits. That was why they were left alone here. It was a very good thing for her. She glanced around and saw that she and the aunt were alone. Xiao suddenly let out a scream and paused in her steps. I seem to have dropped my handkerchief. Aunt, please find it for me. The aunt had no intention of helping her, but she suddenly thought of something and nodded immediately. Xiao smiled. You have to return and lead the way for me, otherwise I will go home. Startled, the aunt said with her breath held, Second miss, don't worry, I definitely will return soon. She had intended to leave directly, but if Xiao left because of her absence, her miss would definitely blame her. Second miss was an honest and easily bullied person? That was incorrect. The moment that aunt left, Xiao went to pick up 2 large tomatoes and put them in arms. She was cheering happily inside her heart at this moment. She was going to make tomato scrambled eggs, tomato stewed tofu, tomato stewed fish, tomato brisket pot, tomato mixed with sugar, tomato sauce, tomato soup, tomato noodles, and a lot more. Chapter 179. Not an empty trip. Tomatoes were sweet and sour, and went well with any vegetables. They were good for soup. Any dishes added with tomatoes would be really sweet. Xiao had the habit of putting the tomato in while making ribs in the past. It was not an empty trip. She was going to make the seeds grow faster, and she would be eating the fruits in no time. Aunt returned soon and said, I didn't find the handkerchief. Have you remembered it wrongly? Xiao smiled. It looks like that. Maybe I didn't drop the handkerchief. I could have come to you, but you are here already. The aunt said nothing more. She had no choice but to continue taking her forward. In fact, she almost suspected that Xiao had already noticed her trick, and came up with a way to make her uncomfortable. Aunt could not help but feel scared, as she thought about this. She wondered what more second miss would do, if she continued to play tricks on her. She was not at all honest. By the lakeside, Qiao, and Xiaoming were talking vividly in the square pavilion. They all turned to look into Xiao's direction when she arrived. Qiao was the first one to react. She chuckled. Sister, is that you? Why are you dressed like this? I thought that you were a servant of this abbey. Qiao burst into laughter, and Xiaoming grinned as well. The other 4 or 5 ladies were either laughing or chose to remain silent. Xiao was Officer Qiao's daughter after all, and no one was interested in getting involved in their family competition. They might even bring trouble for their own families, if they did something unpleasant. Xiao was speechless. What an ass-licker Qiao was. She was as annoying as Qiao. Xiao smiled embarrassedly. This is what women from the village are like. That was what Qiao wanted to hear, wasn't it? She could easily satisfy her. Sure enough, Qiao looked prouder and was less sharp at Qiao. Qiao felt even happier by Xiao's humble behavior. She instantly fell into a good mood. Weak people only became strong when they were bullying the weaker ones. Qiao snorted. You know yourself well. Qiao laughed. Sister, even if that is the truth, you should dress better at the banquet, otherwise you are humiliating our parents, right? People might think that we are stingy towards you. Xiao replied instantly. You are not stingy, you are nice to me. It is my fault not to have seen that through. Thanks, sister. Xiao expected to see her humiliated and embarrassed, but she even admitted the truth generously and thanked her for the reminder. That made Xiao feel stuck in words. Xiao found her boring to play with. She told herself that her mother was right. Xiao was a bitch and a weed by the roadside. There was no need to take her seriously. She must have seen it wrong to find her different before. Instead of speaking with Xiao turned to Zhao Ming and the other ladies, ignoring Xiao directly. Xiao let out a sigh of relief. But Xiao felt unbalanced. Chapter 180 Fight Xiao, who had been thinking about humiliating Xiao, got so annoyed. Why did Xiao give up tormenting Xiao only after a few minutes? What was she thinking? Xiao tried to come up with some ways to set her up. But Xiao did not get into trouble with her. No matter how horrible her words sounded, Xiao listened without countering, and occasionally, she even behaved as if she were guilty. On the other hand, though Qiao lost interest in speaking with Xiao, when she saw Qiao bullying Xiao, she became interested again. She wished that the two concubine daughters could fight each other. However, Xiao was too timid to cause any trouble, which made her lose interest. Of course, she would not want to get involved. But the sisters of the Fang family did not like it. They helped Xiao out by engaging in a conversation with Xiao and eased her embarrassment. Jealous and angry, Xiao did not like it when someone helped Xiao out. What was the point of helping her? She was just a countryside woman. She rolled her eyes and screamed. Oh no! Sister, I just lost my jade in the water. Can you help scoop it out? Thanks very much. They were all taken aback. The Fang family sisters exchanged a look between themselves and felt helpless. The third miss of the Qiao family was being so unreasonable. She could have asked a servant to fish it out rather than let second miss get it. Qiao smiled and said nothing. Qiao became more arrogant as she snapped. Sister, you won't turn me down for such a small thing, right? Of course not. Xiao smiled and said to the maid, please give me a thin bamboo pole or a wooden stick. Qiao asked immediately, why a bamboo pole? Why don't you just go down into the water? Xiao answered shyly, just let me try, okay, sister? Qiao was stuck speechless. She glared at Xiao and snorted. What could she say? She could not come up with a counter to that immediately. She was not stupid. If she disapproved of her suggestion, it would be visible to everyone that she was just setting her sister up. It was not a glorious action, and she needed to save her face. She had already noticed people looking at her weirdly. Qiao was pretending to be calm, yet she was feeling humiliated and angry inside her heart. Xiao looked as if she were very honest, but she was a tricky one. The bamboo pole was finally handed over. Xiao's jade was in the water grass close to the bank. With her superpower, Xiao could see the spot clearly. She could control the grass with her superpower, so that the grass moved and the jade simply floated out. Overjoyed, Xiao had discovered one more function of her superpower. She had not thought about this, and decided to make use of it properly in the future. Excited, Xiao decided to explore the function further. She was going to develop it well. If she could use the superpower to control some plants, she could even protect herself. Won't she be totally invulnerable then? In front of everyone, Xiao used the bamboo pole to take hold of one grass blade, so the grass was tangled with Qiao's jade. Chapter 181 Xiao's compensation. Xiao passed the jade to Qiao and said with a smile, "Third sister, please keep it well." Qiao's face sank as she took it from her with clenched teeth, forcing a smile out of her lips. "Thanks, sister." "No worries." Qiao pursed her lips, thinking that she was such a useless person who could not even give her sister a hard time. Qiao's obvious behavior made people feel very uncomfortable, so someone suggested that they should take a walk in the yard. The idea was supported by many people, and everyone headed towards the garden with Qiao. Qiao glared at Xiao, but the very next second, she smiled and went after Qiao instead, showing a flattering expression. Xiao could not help but sigh. This sister of hers was as thick-cheeked as Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma. No wonder the original host did not have a good time at the Qiao family. Her lineal sister was so arrogant and her second sister was worse. Both of them had their own mothers as the support, but she had nothing. What could she have done? Xiao raised her eyebrows and started to look around extensively. Everyone was watching the flower show, and headed forward without noticing the 2-finger-thick vines stretching out, which tripped Xiao over. Oh. Xiao became annoyed but was worried that Xiao would be displeased, so she kept flattering Xiao and showed no awareness of the vines. That's how she tripped over together with Xiao. The two sisters fell to the ground and the whole crowd let out a scream. Elder Miss Qiao. Help Elder Miss Qiao up quickly. Most of the people present did not take Xiao as someone important. They had seen how Xiao behaved and how Xiao treated her. They all thought of Xiao as someone useless. Even though she fell hard, no one cared about her. But Xiao fell, which was a troublesome matter. Xiao was in so much pain that she turned pale. She could not regain her breath until a while later. She was snorting inwardly with hands over her knees, as she was helped up by the crowd. The maid lifted the dress and everyone gasped. There was a purple patch on Xiao's knees, which was bleeding against her fair skin. It was a very shocking scene. Bring the doctor over quickly. Zhao Ming's face crumpled as she turned to her maid and instructed. She was making complaints inside her heart. Elder Miss Qiao was hurt in her garden, and that would make her look like an irresponsible host. Elder Miss Qiao better not get mad at her. Xiao was even more anxious than her. She almost wanted to kill herself. She felt like collapsing into a faint. How did this happen? She was not injured, but Xiao was. Sister. Xiao sobbed. I am sorry, I did not mean that, sorry. Xiao felt like she was dying, but she had to keep her temper down in front of so many people. She bit down her anger and said, I knew you did not mean to hurt me. Xiao felt slightly assured. Thanks, sister. Xiao tried to offer some concern, but Xiao was surrounded by so many people and she was directly squeezed out, so she did nothing. Xiao felt slightly cheerful as she glanced at Xiao. It served her right. Soon Xiao was carried into a nearby room. Xiao wanted to calm herself, so she only had Fendi and Xiao, as well as Xiling with her. When everyone else left, Xiao changed her face directly as she glared at Xiao fiercely. Chapter 182 Lecture. Xiao shivered as she said in a trembling voice, Sister. You bitch. Xiao glared at her and almost burst out in anger. She had the intention of ripping her off. Kneel down. Xiao fell on the ground without any hesitation. Sister. Your eyes are useless if they can't even see the road. Xiao cursed with her teeth clenched. She said to Fendi, What are you looking at? Discipline her. She was suffering from so much pain, and she could not tolerate the idea of having been tripped over in public. Pale, Xiao begged for mercy in a small voice. Fendi was very proficient. She immediately went to pinch Xiao's arms. It was early summer and people were wearing thin clothes. Arms would hurt from the pinch, but the wound would not be noticed. They were guests in someone else's home, and should not slap them on the face. It would be seen. Xiao's had almost exploded. She, out of compulsion, could not dodge it. The tears were gathered in her eyes, but she could not cry out. She begged and said, Sister, please forgive me. Xiao's anger was vented as she said coldly, You bitch, just wait until we get home. I will teach you a proper lesson then. Xiao sobbed. It is my fault. I have hurt you, sister. I will definitely beg for forgiveness from mother. Please don't be mad at me. Xiao snorted and stopped glaring at her. What a bitch. She was not even worth the attention. Seeing her on her knees, wiping the tears, she was still really mad at her. Xiao gritted her teeth and reminded herself that she could not offend Xiao, so she had to keep the hatred inside her heart. She hated Xiao fiercely at this moment. She was humiliated in front of Xiao. She had wanted to embarrass Xiao but got humiliated herself. Xiao felt increasingly annoyed. Sister, it is Xiao who pushed me so I bumped into you. Xiao threw a cold look at her. Qiao Wei knew clearly that Xiao Xian was not next to her, and Xiao Xian never did anything to her when Zhao Ming and the crowd were next to them. But she did not counter Qiao Ko. She did not have the intention of defending Xiao Xian. Seeing that her sister seemed to have accepted her words, Qiao Ko brought herself up and started to narrate the incident as if she were telling the truth. Sister, Xiao Xian is the real bitch. You must have noticed that. She is getting so sneaky these days. She looks as if she were down to earth, but honestly, sister, she has never had a bad day. Everyone is also saying that you are bullying her. She is just playing dumb to make herself seem innocent. Now she is married and living far away. That's why she is getting bold. She just takes advantage of the situation and is giving us a bad time. What if she does something horrible behind your back? Then, moved, Qiao Wei started to think over her words and felt weird. However, Xiao Xian looked absolutely humble, but she never had a hard time. She even made herself forget about humiliating her. It all seemed so strange. Chapter 183 made Qiao Wei could not help but start to think about the past. She suddenly felt that she never had any impression of Xiao Xian at all. She was just a silent person who never drew anyone's attention. She looked honest at the moment, but she did not seem as genuine as before. Qiao Wei's face started to turn twisted. Was Xiao Xian putting on a show? Was she lying to her? What was she thinking? Xiao Ko was observing Qiao Wei, who apparently had taken her own words seriously. She could not help but chuckle inside her heart. She was trying to make Xiao Xian get sullied with all kinds of filth. Soon, Zhao Ming was knocking outside, whispering that the doctor was here. Qiao Wei threw a look at Xiao Ko. Get up. Thank you, sister. Xiao Ko answered and got up carefully with the help of the maid's hand. Qiao Wei had just skinned her knees, and the extreme pain had already passed. The doctor gave the medicine and went away. Qiao Wei was not in a mood for any more fun. Her limping leg could not take her anywhere. She even wanted to leave without eating lunch. Zhao Ming could not keep her but walked her out personally. When she left, the others did not remain there any longer and bid farewell. Xiao Xian let out a sigh of relief that she was finally going to leave. But Qiao Wei said to her, "You don't come to the town often, so come back home with me and greet our mother." Xiao Xian agreed obediently and glanced at Xiao Ko. She could see how proud Xiao Ko looked. At this moment, Xiao Xian withdrew her gaze and understood that she must have played some tricks in the middle. Xiao Xian hated Xiao Ko deeply. She was like a fly who kept disgusting people. Sometimes she just did not understand what benefit would Xiao Ko get after picking on her. It was never easy to understand what these rubbish people were thinking. Xiao Xian followed Qiao Wei and Xiao Ko to the wagon and headed towards the town. Xiao Ko kept mocking her on the way there. But Xiao Xian did not counter her and stayed silent. She was going to see what Xiao Ko would get after sucking up to Qiao Wei. Qiao Wei did not mock Xiao Xian but called out a maid called Lu Yan. She said to Xiao Xian, "You are father's daughter and you don't even have a maid. Father would look bad in this way. Take Lu Yan home. She will be your maid from today onwards." Qiao Wei never mentioned anything about the maid's contract, because Lu Yan's contract was in Qiao Wei's hands. Xiao Xian was startled and she panicked. "I don't think it would work. We are just a countryside family. Just take her." Qiao Wei looked impatient as she said coldly, "You don't even want to accept my gift?" "No. Thanks, sister." Xiao Xian accepted Lu Yan reluctantly, but Lu Yan wasn't at all happy. She clearly knew that the countryside wasn't a good place to live in, and she didn't know when she would return to the town. She did not even look at Xiao Xian, but kowtowed to Qiao Wei politely. She looked extremely unhappy. Chapter 184 Maid from Sister Xiao Xian ignored her reaction. Soon Xiao Xian waved them goodbye and left with Lu Yan. The moment she left, Madame Qiao turned angry seeing Qiao Wei's wounds on her knees. Before Qiao Ko could beg for forgiveness, she scolded her and grounded her for 10 days and asked her to copy 10 scrolls of Buddha scripts. Angry inside her heart, Qiao Ko looked pitiful and helpless. She had tears in her eyes but did not dare to utter another word. Xiao Xian left with Lu Yan and met up with Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan let out a sigh of relief seeing her coming back safe and sound. But he was surprised to see Lu Yan there. He turned to Qiao Xian with a look of inquiry. Qiao Xian winked at her and said pretentiously in a weak voice, "This is Lu Yan, a maid given by my sister." Lu Yan could not help but purse her lips, snorting and rolling her eyes at Xiao Yunduan. Maid? They were just poor people. How did they call her a maid? Also, her elder miss did not give her to them. She was asked to spy on them. Her contract was in her elder miss' hands, who said that when she was done with her task, she would be brought back home again. Did this couple really think that they were someone of importance? Did they think that she was going to serve them for a long time? They were just dreaming. Xiao Yunduan frowned slightly. He understood what elder Miss Qiao wanted to do. Madame Qiao must have been involved in it too. Xiao Yunduan did not show any reaction when they were in town. He nodded gently. "I got it. Then let's go home." He was totally relieved to see Qiao Xian safe and sound. "Yes, let's go." Qiao Xian nodded and felt a bit gloomy. She could do something about Lu Yan, but she was not going to do that right away. They had no choice but to return empty-handed, instead of buying some meat and snacks for home. What bad luck for them. The roasted chicken they bought the other day was used to save the man on the road. She had intended to buy another one today. The roasted chicken looked crispy on the surface and it must be delicious. They rented the bullock cart for their transportation. The rakes were almost done, and they did not need to spend money on rakes anymore. So they had the bullock cart with them. The rent was twice as high as on regular days. Xiao Yunduan was driving the cart while Qiao Xian took the back seat. But Lu Yan did not like it. She did not even help Qiao Xian get onto the cart, and even if she saw Qiao Xian getting on the cart, she refused to do anything. Qiao Xian sneered inwardly. What was this maid thinking? She had her life at the mercy of someone else. What rights did she have to showcase her sense of superiority in front of a free woman like her? How ridiculous. But she did not bother to engage with a stupid woman like that. Instead, she said gently with a smile, "The cart is a bit shabby. It is okay if you aren't used to it. You will be able to catch up with us. We won't run too fast so you can walk along." Lu Yan was startled. So, she was either taking the cart or walking. Qiao Xian was not going to hire the wagon for her. She did not have money. Lu Yan felt that Qiao Xian was actually stabbing her right in the face, and she could not see what was going on. However, she was not going to walk it. She was going to travel far into the mountains, and she needed to keep her legs for such an unknowingly long trip. Chapter 185. Overcome. Lu Yan pursed her lips, but started to climb up to the cart unwillingly. When she was about to climb on, Xiao Yunduan waved the whip that hit straight on the bull's back. The bull, which got the jerk, suddenly lunges forward. Lu Yan let out a frightened scream. She took hold of the edge and climbed onto the cart in a messy way. But Xiao Yunduan did not have the intention of stopping. He did not care about the commotion behind his back. Qiao Xian asked Qiao Xian in concern, "Are you all right?" She almost burst into laughter but controlled it. Xiao Yunduan, who looked so honest, could even throw a prank like this. She loved it. After a long while, Lu Yan finally settled on the cart. She was furious and glared at Qiao Xian. "All right?" She was not at all right. Qiao Xian ignored the stare and showed a gentle smile, sounding tolerant. "That is how a bullock cart works, not as comfortable as a cart, so please learn to get used to it." Having said the words, Qiao Xian ignored her and whispered to Xiao Yunduan. Looking at the shabby cart, and the chair that had been taken by Qiao Xian, she found that she did not even have anywhere to sit apart from the filthy board. Moreover, her hands were still on the board. Lu Yan felt so disgusted that she raised her hands in the air. The next second, she again got flung backwards on the cart, and almost got herself smashed on the board. Feeling wronged, Lu Yan burst into tears. She felt so humiliated, but she did not want to show it. So, she tried to hide the sobbing sound. Poor her. Why her? Why was she suffering from misery? She did not want to stay here anymore. She turned to Qiao Xian's retreating figure. It was the second miss who made this happen. She was going to see what second miss had so she could take revenge on her when she returned. Finally, they arrived at the village. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian led Lu Yan home. Seeing the shabby-looking house, Lu Yan felt even more sad. What a terrible place. Xiao Xian felt a little bit troubled too. What was she going to do about the accommodation? They had 2 rooms available, but they needed to be cleaned up. Xiao Xian presented Lu Yan to Ms. Fang and Xiao Taotao. Then she turned to Lu Yan. Come and greet Madame Xiao and third miss. Lu Yan was startled. Ms. Fang and Xiao Taotao were startled too. No, it is okay. Ms. Fang shook her head and arms. She was not used to such behavior. Xiao Xian added, Mom, this is the maid my sister gave us. We can use her in any way we want. That is the rule. Lu Yan, kneel down and greet them. Slaves, when they met their masters for the first time, needed to kowtow. Lu Yan felt dizzy and was shocked. Was she going to greet a countryside woman and a rural girl? Second miss was mental. She was not her real master. Xiao Xian frowned. What are you doing, Lu Yan? If you don't even know about the rules, you are humiliating my parents. I will send you home so you can learn them again. Startled, Lu Yan collapsed and kneeled. Greetings, Madame Xiao and third miss. Greetings. Chapter 186. Habit. Seeing that Xiao Xian could make her kneel down so smoothly, Lu Yan could not help but feel irritated. But it was already too late. She was a maid after all, and she was used to kneeling down. So she did it almost subconsciously. Xiao Taotao got so frightened that she retreated backwards, and turned to look at Xiao Xian nervously. Ms. Fang was startled as well. Well, get up now. She almost reached out to help Lu Yan up, but Xiao Xian stopped her secretly. Xiao Xian turned to Lu Yan and smiled. You have done well. Get up now. From this moment on, you should settle down properly and serve us full-heartedly. Just do what you are supposed to do. Do not say anything that should not be said, or do anything that should not be done. In this way, you can live a good life. My mother-in-law and her family are all excellent and kind-hearted people. You can be assured. Okay, let's go and clean up your room. Xiao Xian looked at Ms. Fang when she said that. Ms. Fang nodded dumbly as Xiao Xian led Lu Yan to a small wing room, where she needed to clean up everything alone. She was the maid, but why must she clean up her own accommodation as well? Seeing that the light was bad, and there was some mold floating in the air, Lu Yan noticed that the broken side room was filled with stuff. Everything was so filthy. She got so angry that she said to Xiao Xian, Second miss, this is not a place to live. Xiao Xian smiled. This is what the countryside is like. What about me sending you back home, if you are not used to living here? Lu Yan. She wanted to do that too, but she could not leave. Not right now. Lu Yan almost burst into tears. But how can I clean it up? I don't know how to do that. Second miss, please get 2 people to help me out. She worked with elder miss as the secondary maid, who had never done this kind of tough labor work. Xiao Xian stopped smiling and frowned. Who do you want me to get to help you? Me. My mother-in-law. My sisters-in-law. You are a maid, and this is your work. What about you going back to the Qiao family and bringing someone over to help you? Standing there motionlessly, Lu Yan turned to look at Xiao Xian in disbelief. Xiao Xian ignored her, turned around and left. Lu Yan stared at Xiao Xian transfixedly. For a moment, she almost felt that there was something wrong with Second Mississippi, but she said nothing in return. Seeing the mess in front of her, she felt so bad that she wanted to die. She was not in a mood to do anything. Xiao Xian went to speak with Ms. Fang and Xiao Taotao about Lu Yan's presence here. I did not dare to tell you about this, Mom, because I was worried that you would hate me. My lineal mother doesn't like me that much, and Lu Yan is here to spy on me. She might even do something to make our family worse. So, Xiao Taotao was transfixed. She always believed that fifth sister-in-law must have lived a good life at her mother's home, where she never needed to worry about anything. But it seemed that her fifth sister-in-law had not been in a good position earlier. The kind-hearted girl felt so sorry for fifth sister-in-law. She did not have a mother to love her, and did not even dare to report it to her father. It was so difficult. She was going to treat her fifth sister-in-law well, so she could live a happy life. Chapter 187 Ideas. Ms. Fang was dumbfounded. She felt very sorry when she heard her daughter-in-law. She soon realized what was going on. No wonder she had felt that something was wrong right at the beginning. The Qiao family did not seem to be very passionate about marrying their daughter. She had thought it was because they never thought the Xiao family were a good match for their girl, but she never expected that it was because their daughter was not considered as someone important. Her daughter-in-law did not even bring a maid with her. She should have noticed that before. Good girl, don't be silly. I will never blame you. I will cherish you for the rest of my life. This maid is not here to serve you full-heartedly. Now that I understand that, I will not allow her to do anything bad against us. Ms. Fang consoled Xiao and started to feel disgusted towards Madame Qiao and her husband. She knew what she should do with Lu Yan. Madame Qiao and Officer Qiao were blind not to treat such a good girl kindly. Xiao let out a sigh of relief and smiled brightly. I feel so relieved that you don't blame me. I will definitely treat you and all the siblings well. Ms. Fang smiled. You are already treating them well already. Xiao added. Lu Yan may not be that obedient. You have to stay alert and tell sister-in-law about her too. Ms. Fang nodded. I will. Don't worry, if she ever dares to do anything, I will beat and scold her. She is just a maid, isn't she? Ms. Fang, who had not been pleased with the maid, suddenly felt motivated. She found herself feeling like the master. Xiao chuckled and nodded. Of course. Ms. Fang was satisfied with her response. Xiao went to Xiao Yunduan and discussed the matter. They had no idea what Xiao Wei's purpose was. Xiao said, My lineal sister always has different ideas. I believe that Xiao Ko must have said some bad words about me. Let us just keep the maid. She won't be able to turn the table. Xiao Yunduan nodded. Don't let her know that you can make money. Hide it well. Xiao burst into laughter, feeling warm inside her heart. I will. She suddenly added. She should never get close to our room or touch your books, or disturb your studies. Xiao Yunduan nodded seriously. I will not allow her to get close to me at all. Xiao liked what she heard and gave him a smile. When they were done talking, Xiao asked Xiao Taotao to come over to her room. They took out the seeds of tomatoes and sun-dried them, so they could be planted. Xiao took out the seeds, spread them out in a small round dustpan covered with gauze. She said to her, Taotao, please take good care of the seeds for me. They should only be planted after being sun-dried. The fruits can be eaten as either snacks or vegetables. They are good things. Xiao did not want Lu Yan to see these, nor did she want mice or birds to peck at them. So she entrusted Xiao Taotao to do the job. Xiao Taotao nodded at her and said, Don't worry, fifth sister-in-law. I will take good care of the seeds and lose none. Xiao smiled. Just relax, and make sure that you have some left. She believed that one seed could create a whole plain. She could make it spread faster and wider after that. Chapter 188. Feeling good, the two of them talked, and then went up to the yard for a walk. There were many loquats, plums, mulberries, and bayberries in the garden, which looked very attractive as they were hanging on the branches. The two of them held a few in each basket. They washed and sun-dried them, so that the whole family could eat it. Wild lemons had grown quite a bit, so had peaches as well as dates, persimmons, pears, grapes, and figs. The watermelon's veins were everywhere, casting a patch of greenness on the ground, looking really interesting. The watermelons were round and in different sizes. The large ones were as big as bowls. Xiao felt that she could pour in some power, so the watermelons could be ready to be eaten earlier. What a wonderful thing! The pomegranates were also blooming, and they were particularly bright and dazzling. No wonder there was a sentence in the ancient poem. In May the pomegranates shine brightly. The planted Panax noto ginseng and ginseng had already sprouted and grown more than 2 inches tall. Gastrodia looked even more energetic and neat. Xiao Taotao was very careful and excited when seeing the medical herbs. They were all worth a lot of money. She was so happy for fifth sister-in-law, even though the plants did not belong to her. By evening the whole family was back and learned about the maid. For farmers' families, it was a fresh thing, so Lu Yan attracted a lot of attention as if she were someone rare. Lu Yan started to feel quite proud inwardly. She could not help but straighten her back, thinking that these rural people must have not seen the noble air around a girl like her. The maids from large families were surely more noble than ordinary daughters. Also, she was in a better position than those from the large families, since she was working at the officer's home. These rural people must feel so ashamed and jealous seeing her. But those villagers felt strange as to why she looked so proud. Only Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan could tell what she was thinking, and they rolled their eyes inwardly. Qiao Xian decided to get 2 crucian carps from the backyard water tank and braised them. There were many fish and shrimps in the river, and Xiao Xiaoqi always brought back some and added them to the water tank when they ran out of ingredients. Xiao Xian was used to making meat dishes, and Ms. Su, as well as Xiao Taotao, would take care of the preparations. Seeing Qiao Xian working so hard in the kitchen, Lu Yan stayed far away from them, fearing that Qiao Xian would ask her to help as well. She laughed at Second Mississippi. She was even worse than a maid like her. She had never needed to do any work in the kitchen. She was going to remember this and tell Elder Miss about this. Her Elder Miss was definitely going to be very happy. Qiao Xian made braised carps, steamed eggs, and then walked out of the kitchen. Ms. Su made fried yam slices and stewed beans. They added a bowl of sponge gourd and the whole family started to eat together. Before Lu Yan could see the dishes, Qiao Xian took her to the kitchen. "We don't have any rules here. You don't have to stay by our side when we eat. You can eat in the kitchen if you want to." Lu Yan. Staying by their side? What were they dreaming about? Chapter 189. Too lazy. Thinking that the rural people did not live in a luxurious state, Lu Yan refused to eat with them on the same table. So she nodded and left. Qiao Xian smiled and went for lunch, leaving Lu Yan alone in the kitchen. Lu Yan looked at the dish that was left for her. There was half a bowl of rice with yams and beans, as well as some slices of gourd. All were vegetables, and there was not much oil in them. How could this be edible? Ms. Fang told Ms. Qiao to put in as many seasoning spices as possible, which was much better than before, considering that the family had plenty of money for the moment. At least right now, the dishes were not tasteless. But compared to the kitchen of the county magistrate's home, the dishes definitely paled in comparison. Lu Yan was a secondary maid, who was used to eating meat during every meal. Whenever Qiao Wei was happy, she would even give the maid some desserts or leftovers of the delicious dishes. So, Lu Yan was not at all used to the poverty she had to face now. Seeing the rice and vegetables, Lu Yan suddenly felt unhappy. How could this food be eaten? She was not satisfied, but Qiao Xian, who was very cautious towards her and could punish her whenever she made mistakes, would never mistreat her. If she were in anyone else's family, she would not even end up being given a bowl of rice. Lu Yan could not stand it anymore. She ate a small portion of the dish, put down the chopsticks and bowl, and returned to her wing room. She kept sobbing lying on the hard and shabby wooden bed. Lu Yan had a very difficult time throughout the night. The following day when Lu Yan woke up, she was feeling very sore on her limbs and back. She felt like dying, all alone in this place. But she was here on a mission and she could only leave when she was done with the task. That made Lu Yan feel motivated. Her mission was not about serving the whole family, so she refused to get out of the bed when she woke up. What if she was asked to do hard labor work? Lu Yan did not get up until a long while later. Ms. Fang was alone at home, taking care of her grandchildren. The others were out for work except for Xiao Yunduan, who was studying in the room. Xiao Xian was making lipsticks in the floral field. Ms. Fang would have gone out with her grandchildren to visit others, but for the fact that she had to keep an eye on Lu Yan. She glanced at Lu Yan's room, feeling very displeased. How could a maid be so lazy? She should have been sold away. Lu Yan combed her hair, washed her face and found 2 steamed buns for breakfast. She ate them up in silence. The steamed buns were cold and stiff. For Lu Yan, they were like wax. Lu Yan was greedy for the steamed buns with meat and ground meat porridge. She desperately wanted to go back to where she came from. Lu Yan gave herself a pep talk and then went up to Ms. Fang. "Greetings, Madam Xiao," she came to Ms. Fang and said with a flattering smile. "Young master grandson and lady granddaughter are so good-looking. They must have a great fortune in the future. Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing were eating loquats and plums, seated on the chairs next to Ms. Fang. The bright yellow loquats and dark red plums were big and plump, and the juice flowed across the lips when they took a bite. The flesh was thick and tender, and the fruit was full of flavor. The two children ate everything with relish and had satisfied smiling faces. It looked delicious at first sight. Luyan could not help but feel like eating the fruit as well. She gulped down the saliva and reached out for the basket. Chapter 190. Not her. Ms. Fang moved the basket and snapped at her. You are not at all honest. You are such a lazy maid. Even the most lazy woman in the village wakes up at this hour and does not even get to eat porridge. Luyan sneered and thought that she was not a woman from the village anyways. Luyan felt humiliated when she was snapped at by an elderly woman from the countryside. She forced a small smile out of her lips. You are right, Madam Xiao. I will correct myself. Where is second miss? Is she also working in the field? Of course. Ms. Fang snapped at Luyan as she pursed her lips. We need to eat by doing labor work. You can sweep the yard. The broomstick is in the corner. That is your job from this day on. One sweep in the morning and the evening. No early sweeping in the afternoon. Wait until the ducks, chickens and geese all return to the nests. Luyan felt even worse when she heard about her task. Madam Xiao. Luyan's smile stiffened as she said unhappily, but I am here to serve second miss, and I can't do such heavy labor. I am not good at it either. There is such a thing as serving. Ms. Fang's eyes arose as she sneered. Let me tell you, Ms. Qiao is working at our home, and your status is even less than hers. What are you countering me for? One more word, and I will slap you right on the face. Luyan's face turned pale. She was startled. She believed her words completely. Rough women from the countryside always hit or scolded people, instead of talking reasonably. She could look down at Ms. Fang and her family in her heart, but she could not dare to counter Ms. Fang if she really slapped her. It is my fault, I am sorry. Madam, don't be mad, I will sweep the floor now. Instead of arguing, Luyan started to sweep the floor. Ms. Fang frowned. Xiao Taotao had swept the floor early in the morning. Luyan could never do a good job. This was such a mess. Ms. Fang looked down at her inside her heart. What was she doing here? And she even wasted their food. Ms. Fang wanted to drive her away directly, if she could. Luyan sneaked back to her own room when she saw that Ms. Fang was not paying attention to her. The broken wing room was a poor place, but it was much better than doing the labor work. She was very worried that Ms. Fang would make her do the hard tasks again. Luyan kept herself hidden from everyone. Xiao Xian as well as the rest of the family did not care, because they never expected her to do anything in the first place. Xiao Xian even was worried that Luyan would seduce Xiao Yunduan, but it seemed that Luyan was avoiding the brothers of the Xiao family, fearing that she would be too attached. That made Xiao Xian feel quite assured. Luyan did not dare to irritate Ms. Fang, so she tried to get close to Ms. Su and Xiao Taotao, hoping to get some news about Xiao Xian from them. But Ms. Fang had told Ms. Su and Xiao Taotao not to say anything, so her attempts failed. They were worried not to be able to counter Luyan, who might use tricky means, so they kept silent and said nothing. Without any way out, Luyan failed to get any valuable information for elder Miss Qiao, so she clenched her teeth and expressed that she was going to keep Xiao Xian company to do labor work in the fields. But Xiao Xian turned her down. Chapter 191. Different Identities. She was never going to let her know about the existence of her floral fields. Xiao Xian's rejection caused suspicion in Luyan's eyes. She tried to stalk Xiao Xian, but was discovered by Xiao Xiaoqi. Xiao Xian lectured her and asked Xiao Taotao to take her to Ms. Fang. Luyan tried to sneak into Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian's room when Xiao Yunduan was at the college for studies, trying to find something there. But Ms. Fang got to know and found her when she was going through the wardrobe. Ms. Fang snapped at her angrily. Knowing that she was not in a good position, Luyan apologized and did not dare to counter her. Knowing what happened, Xiao Xian angrily slapped Luyan right on the face, pointing at her and cursing. Who do you think you are? How dare you rummage through my room? If you ever do that again, I am going to chop your hands and ruin your face. Let's see if my good mother is going to defend you then. Xiao did not care if Lu Yan was idling around, but she could not stand it when she dared into her room. Lu Yan should never be allowed to find anything in her room. Slapping her was the least punishment she could give to her. Lu Yan felt her face flush badly. She was so shocked that she even forgot to scream and stared at Xiao in surprise. Did Second Miss just slap her? How could Second Miss be so ferocious? Did she really actually hit her? She was the timid and honest Second Miss. She was supposed to be weak. Lu Yan felt as if she were dreaming. Lu Yan believed that Xiao was a timid person who could be bullied easily, and that was why Lu Yan sneaked into Xiao's room. Any servant would be punished heavily if such a thing happened in a family. Servants might even die if their masters had a bad temper. Heard what I just said? What? Lu Yan brought herself back and felt pain arising on her cheek. Second Miss seemed so intimidating at that moment. She could not help but shiver as she replied, "Yes, I did. Then bear my words in your mind." Xiao sneered. "Don't you ever forget whose hands you are in. I am not out for your blood, but don't think that I am someone easily bullied. If I am going to punish you, your contract will become mine too. I can ruin you, and your master will not be able to do anything about it, understand?" Lu Yan turned pale and showed horror and fright. If Second Miss ruined her, Elder Miss would definitely not help her, but blame her for not being able to complete the mission well. She would kick her away instead of caring about her. Elder Miss might blame Second Miss as well, but what more could she do? Second Miss was also Officer Qiao's daughter. Lu Yan suddenly realized who she really was. She was just a maid, and Second Miss was the master. They had a huge difference in their identities. If Second Miss ignored her, then things would be fine, but if she wanted to do anything to her, she would be helpless against the attack. "Go into the wing room. No food for you today," Xiao said coldly. Without uttering any sound, Lu Yan rushed away. Back in the wing room, Lu Yan collapsed onto the hard wooden bed, and her heart throbbed heavily. Chapter 192 Elder Miss Prize. But soon Lu Yan became excited again. Her eyes were sparkling. No wonder Elder Miss had sent her to watch out for Second Mississippi. There was something wrong with Second Miss. She was hiding herself so well that she did not reveal her real temper until this day. Elder Miss was so smart to have noticed this secret. Lu Yan turned extremely happy. It was a great piece of news. She was going to take the information to Elder Mississippi. Elder Miss was definitely going to bestow great prizes and praise her. Elder Miss had told her that Second Miss would go back to her mother's home on the 15th day of August. At that time, she would reveal everything to Elder Mississippi. All she needed was to wait until that day. When the rakes were ready, it was time for seedling. That was something that needed to be done at the right hour. The first section of the Xiao family only had 7 mu of field, and their grain production was not so high. So, it took time and labor to finish the field planting. Xiao ceased her work of lipstick, because Ms. Su and Tao Tao as well as Qi were helping out with sowing seedlings in the field. Ms. Fang was cooking at home, and Xiao was asked to take care of Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing. As for Xiao Yinduan, he was busy studying in his room, whilst the other brothers were out in the field. Second and third sections of the family again came to the door. They first started to coax eldest uncle outside home. As a result, at dinner time, elder uncle said, "Let's take an early break tonight. We need to get down to work on the seedlings in the field. When you are done, you can help second uncle and third uncle as well. It is a very important matter that can't be delayed." Ms. Fang rolled her eyes before he could finish his words. The whole family showed no look of surprise. They had been used to this kind of request. But things were different this year. "What? They don't own our fields, do they? We made the rakes. Why must we do the seedling work too? Oh, does this mean that we can get the fruits when autumn comes? And we can pick the rice we want? Are they so handicapped that they can't move at all?" Eldest uncle frowned. "How can you say things like this? We talked about this before. We will forget our past grudges and start fresh. Why are you still thinking about this?" Ms. Fang got even more annoyed. Of course I am thinking about it. I am telling the truth. They betray us and then they badmouth us. Why must I forget about this? Why are you thinking about making us do all the work for them? We are all so busy, they can do the seedling work themselves. That is my brother, not someone outside the family. Eldest uncle stressed angrily, after being interrupted by Ms. Fang again. You are behaving over the top. We can help them when we have time. Also, they will help us with seedlings too. What are you splitting your hair for? We don't need them. They can do their own work if they have time. Chapter 193. Clear in mind. Eldest uncle glared. You are not working in the field, so you have no rights to make a decision. Ms. Fang looked at her sons. Do you need second and third uncle for help? Xiao Dalong was too honest to make an expression. He scratched his head and did not dare to utter a sound. Ms. Su did the same thing too. She did not say a thing, but inwardly, she was cheering for her mother-in-law. Xiao Sanlang did not give up after hearing what his mother said. I don't think so. They are always lazy and they never do anything. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao nodded in agreement. They are so lazy and slow. We are much faster. Last year when we helped second uncle with the seedling, second aunt-in-law took second cousin back home and told her to help with cooking. But when we came to her home for lunch, we did not get to eat any food except for one pot of porridge and pickles. That was such a simple lunch that I believe the second aunt-in-law could have done it alone. Eldest uncle heard that. Ms. Fang sneered. No one cares about them. They are just tricking us. They are getting more and more treacherous towards us. Elder uncle felt humiliated, as he said in a sunken voice. You should drop the idea. We are going to help, that is all. Understood? Qiao Xian could not stand the whole thing anymore. She smiled. Mom, it is very easy to resolve this matter. We can help them the way they help us. That is fairness, right? The whole family immediately got clarity in their minds. Xiao Yinduan could not help but glance at Qiao Xian, smiling. He had come up with the idea before, but he could not say it out loud. He was the son, who should not humiliate his father publicly. It was better for his wife to say so. That is true. Xiao Sanlang struck his leg, eyes sparkling. This is a great idea. You are so smart, fifth sister-in-law. Eldest uncle shivered. Shut up, Miss Qiao, what kind of idea is it? Seedling is an important thing. We have to take it seriously. Miss Fang was very displeased. She sneered. What are you shouting at my daughter-in-law for? We are being totally fair, not messing around. Seedling is a very important thing, so you can ask your brothers to pay attention to their own business. It should not be delayed, right? Why didn't you blame them for being lazy? Isn't seedling important for them? If you like them so much, you can help them yourself. Qiao Xian said. After the seedling process is over, we are going to host the wedding for the third sister-in-law. And we are totally occupied. I need to hire elder brother and elder sister-in-law to help with preparations. She really did not have time to help the other sections of the family with anything. Qiao Xian was not yet done with lipsticks. She needed to continue with her work. Yuezheng Xiao had told her that she should make as many as possible, and he was going to buy them all. They only had 500 lipsticks available for sale. She had to hurry up. One lipstick was worth 2 liang, and that was a great thing. They had no wax, so she needed to take Qi and Tao Tao into the mountains. She was going to take in 30 bees boxes within a month. She planned to plant mushrooms too, apart from lipsticks. She had made a new plan. She was going to plant fungus, especially white fungus, which were widely accepted, valuable and precious. Chapter 194. Not others. In addition, she could plant some straw mushrooms, enoki mushrooms, oyster mushrooms and poplar mushrooms, which would be delicious to be eaten. She did not trust anyone else but her family. Ms. Su did not dare to counter her father-in-law while facing something else. But Qiao Xian was talking about the business that helped Ms. Su to earn money, so she had to say something. Working for Qiao Xian helped her earn money, and that made Ms. Su feel really pleased. She often counted the money she had saved in the room, laughing like a silly woman. She was saving it all for her own future. So when Xiao Xian offered some more work, while her father-in-law intended to get them to help the other sections of the family, she felt really annoyed. As a result, Ms. Su said boldly, "True. Dad, we can't delay what fifth sister-in-law needs us to do, right? We must help our own family first." Ms. Fang looked at Ms. Su. "You are right, we should understand who is closer, and who is further away from us." Furious, eldest uncle finally snapped. "You are all trying to irritate me. All right then, you all can stay put. I will go over myself." Having said the words, eldest uncle walked away angrily. Ms. Fang sneered. "All right, just leave my sons alone. Don't you forget to stay for lunch there." Eldest uncle wanted to ignore what she said, but caught all of it. He got so annoyed that he almost tripped over. Xiao Xian bit her lips hard, trying not to laugh. Xiao Dalong panicked. "Mom, will this work? Will Dad get mad?" Xiao Xian was laughing inwardly. This elder brother was way too down to earth. Of course her father-in-law was angry. He got so angry that he almost collapsed. "Just leave him alone." Ms. Fang sneered. "He asked for it. You should all listen carefully to me. Never join him and help them." Xiao Sanlang and the others nodded happily. "I want never." Although they felt a bit unsure about their father being angry, it was such a wonderful feeling, wasn't it? Xiao Dalong intended to say something more, when Ms. Su tugged his sleeves, so he said nothing else. His wife was smarter than him, so when his wife made the suggestion, he closed his mouth no matter how confused he was, unless it dealt with principles and bottom lines. The following day, Xiao Dalong and Ms. Su went to work in their own fields. Ms. Fang was busy with housework, whilst Xiao Xian kept the two children company and fed the ducks and roosters. Roosters only needed to walk in the yard, where they would get happy and return on their own at night. Ducks and geese had grown very big as well. After they were fed, they were driven out of the home, and they returned in the evening after spending the whole day in the river. Xiao Xian was not very sure about the animals, so she followed the ducks and geese in the river and brought the two children along. When they returned home, she knocked at the door, waking up Lu Yan. Xiao Xian felt that such a lazy person should not remain at home. If she had nothing to do, she would cause trouble. In this case, she could be given to do something. Lu Yan was hesitant. Apparently, she did not care about Xiao Xian when she was not really in contradiction with her. Chapter 195 Real Second Miss, but for Shouting Village, which was far away from the town, and she, as a single girl, was worried about running into something unpleasant on the way, she would have run away rather than stay here. That was why Xiao Xian was never worried about her running away. Seeing how Lu Yan was behaving, Xiao Xian sneered. "Sweep the floor clean, chop the wood well and wash all the clothes. No food for you, if you don't finish the work. If you can stay hungry for a couple of days, then you are welcome to do nothing." She had not entrusted her with any work before, because she wanted to see what Lu Yan could do. It was never difficult for her to rectify her. Lu Yan was surprised, unconvinced and extremely furious. She was certain that the second miss had changed. She was different from before. Or the second miss had always been pretending in the past. Second miss at this moment was the authentic one. Lu Yan had never respected Xiao Xian. So when she was threatened, she was not very happy. She threatened back in a soft tone. "Second miss, don't forget that Elder Miss has told me to bring you back for the gift presentation on Mid-Autumn Day. I am a person given by Elder Miss and Madam to you. I can only serve you with some tea. You should remember who is behind me. Second miss, you are humiliating me constantly. That is not good, right?" Xiao Xian smiled. "You are wrong. What do you mean by who is behind you? Should I explain my actions to you? Do you think that just because your contract is not in my hands, I can do nothing about you? Mid-Autumn Day is still not here yet. Do you think that I will be afraid of your report to them? Just wait and see what happens if you disobey me, okay?" Lu Yan's face changed slightly as she stood motionlessly. But she still did not want to move. She refused to do any labor work. She just did not want to do farmer's work. Maids from the mansion never did anything like this. Xiao Xian raised her eyebrows and was about to say something, When Ms. Niu came in with her grandson in arms, she shouted, "Elder sister-in-law, you bear the grudge in your mind for so long. What are you staying here for? We are just offering our help." Ms. Fang countered immediately. "I don't care. You can do your own work if you want to. We don't need your help, because you are going to say that your time and fields got wasted because you helped us with seedlings. How horrible that would sound." Ms. Fang told the other two sections of the family not to visit them. She did not help them either. Second uncle and third uncle had an argument with Ms. Fang, but they never showed up anyway. They believed that they were kind-hearted, but they were turned down early in the morning. Even good-tempered people would not feel pleased after a while. Ms. Niu came to the door directly when she became frustrated. Now she got even more furious when she was countered by Ms. Fang. She became anxious and panicked. Actually, she was upset about having to do everything alone. She had been waiting for the first section of the family to help as always done in the past. She could not stand losing the easy help, which used to be available to her every time in the past. She was a greedy person and felt that she had been put into a disadvantageous situation. Ms. Fang was so disgusting, she thought. Ms. Niu glared at Xiao. She felt that it was all Xiao's fault. Chapter 196 Fierceness. Ms. Niu regretted so deeply that she had not protested against this marriage. Nothing good had happened after Ms. Qiao became part of the family. Xiao did not care about her reaction. She even thought of an idea when she saw Ms. Niu's look. She said, "Second aunt-in-law, we are already in different families. We should care about our own business. Mom is right. You are just humiliating yourself by coming here. But, second aunt-in-law, if you are so busy, I can offer some help." She pointed at Lu Yan and smiled. "This is my maid Lu Yan. Why not take home and make her do your work? You can do whatever you want with her. Maybe she can be of some help to you." Ms. Niu, who had been so angry a few seconds ago, stopped as she heard the words. "Are you sure? You are going to let me use your maid?" Yes. Xiao nodded. Ms. Niu could not help but turn to Ms. Fang, who snorted and looked unwilling, but she said nothing more. Ms. Niu felt slightly better. She snorted. "That is good, you should never break your promise." Ms. Niu would never lose any chance of taking advantage of anything. Of course not. Xiao said to Lu Yan, "What are you standing here for? Why don't you go home with second Madame Xiao? Listen to her order, otherwise she is going to punish you, got it?" Ms. Niu felt so happy hearing herself being addressed as second Madame Xiao, as if she had already risen higher. She glanced at the maid. "Lu Yan, just follow me." Lu Yan looked at Xiao, bit her lips, and followed Ms. Niu. Lu Yan felt somehow proud inwardly. She believed that Xiao must have been scared by what she said, so she did not dare to do anything to her. So she drove her away, just to hide how humiliated she was. All right then. She could leave. Ms. Fang sneered. The maid is going to soon know what kind of hell she is going into. Xiao was not a hard-hearted person, nor was Ms. Fang. But they had the right methods to give Lu Yan a hard time. They just did not want to get themselves stuck with too much trouble. Lu Yan would soon know how hellish life could be, when she ended being with someone like Ms. Niu. What was she thinking when she put on a look of who she was? Hearing what Ms. Fang said, Xiao understood that her mother-in-law knew what she was doing. "Mom, you know me well, that maid has to go through some difficulties, so that she knows what the world is like." In the afternoon, Xiao Dalong and the others came home for lunch. Xiao helped with dough making and noodle kneading. A while ago at home, Xiao cut chili noodles, shiitake mushrooms, egg skins, pork belly into dices and fried shrimp, minced garlic, minced green onion, minced ginger, fried peanuts, and put them into a large jar just to mix with noodles. Apart from the noodles, she picked some beans, celery and scallions from the yard. The beans and celery were chopped, blanched in boiling water, while scallions were cut into minced green onions as seasonings. When the water was boiled, the noodles were cooked and scooped up so the vegetables, sauce and sesame oil as well as vinegar were mixed with pickles from the jar. It looked tasty and appetizing. The dish was simple, and the meal made people feel so satisfied. Chapter 197 Balance. Qiao picked up some mulberries and plums from the garden, washed them and put them in bamboo baskets for everyone to satisfy their cravings after lunch. She did not work in the field, so she tried her best to let the whole family eat well. But she did not see any cucumbers and she wondered if cucumbers were commonly seen at this time around. Otherwise, she could slice cucumbers and stir the slices with noodles. They would be tasty and fresh. As long as she loved it, she could let the fruit trees grow all kinds of fresh fruits throughout the whole year. But that was not very scientific, and she might cause a sensation. At this time, the loquats were already out of season, and there was still a small portion of plums, mulberries and bayberry. They would go out of season in about 10 days at most. But peaches, grapes, watermelons could be eaten again, then figs and then pears, dates and pomegranates would be ripe enough. Eldest uncle was still very angry with Miss Fang. He was wearing a bad look on his face. The whole family had been fed up with the second and third sections of the family during the past few years, and they did not want to slow her down or hold her back when their mother took the lead and protested against it. So no one cared about eldest uncle's look. That made him feel even worse. In silent mutiny, he stopped the work of his own family, but went down to the third section of the family to help him. Third section of the family was not giving him a good time. Luleng was someone who worked over a desk, and there were no other sons who worked in the field. Eldest uncle just could not stand that the third section of the family missed the spring plow. But the second section of the family felt very imbalanced in their hearts, thinking that their eldest brother should be fair. He could not just help the third section of the family, but also the second section of the family. Eldest uncle felt very uncomfortable. In his opinion, they were brothers. They just lived separately because they had more and more new people coming to the place. But the whole family was still one. The whole family should stay together and help each other. As long as they combined forces, they could all have a better life. He really did not think that it was a problem if his sons worked hard for the other sections of the family. Nephew Luleng was physically weak, and he could not go down and work in the field, so he felt that it was totally normal if he helped out his third brother and his family. But what did his second brother mean, when he had so many helpers? Why must he go and help them? When he refused to, he was considered as not being fair. It was not about fairness. It seemed that the second brother and his family did not understand the idea of being one family. Eldest uncle felt really emotional. He tried to explain to the second section of the family, which made second uncle further irritated. But he stopped when he thought of how his wife got a maid from the first section of the family. Eldest uncle felt better thinking that he had managed to convince his second brother. Look, he understood it. He can see through my ideas. Miss Fang did not care about her husband working for the third section of the family. He could continue to be there. As long as his own family was on the right track, he could be left alone. They had not been to the town for days, and Xiao had not hunted in the mountains, so Miss Fang bought some tofu from the wandering sellers. Xiao made food at night. Tofu was fried in oil and browned on both sides. She was going to make a dish of stir-fried tofu with green peppers and mushrooms. A large catfish was killed, and she stewed it with the sauce which had been mixed with noodles for lunch. 2 more crucian carp were killed, and after the cuts were made, they were wrapped in flour and fried, and then braised. She also made another fresh bamboo shoot soup and 1 dish of fried beans. A table consisting of 5 dishes made a good meal. Chapter 198 One thing left. Eldest uncle was very angry with Miss Fang, so he did not eat at home. Instead, he went to the third section of the family for dinner. Third uncle and Ms. Ma were not very happy about his visit. Ms. Ma even made some implicit remarks, but eldest uncle did not get it. Ms. Ma pursed her lips, mumbling in a small voice that all he did was just offer them some help for half a day, and now he was staying for dinner. Their eldest brother was getting more and more calculative. After many days of work, the spring plow was finally drawing to the end. No one from the first section of the family offered help. Second uncle as well as third uncle failed in their plan of letting Miss Fang's sons help them out. In fact, Ms. Fang got more tricky now. She asked her sons to slow down their own labor work, so they did not have any free time to offer anyone else any help. So, after the second and third sections of the family took advantage in getting the rakes made, they would not be called reasonable if they forced Ms. Fang and her sons to help with the seedlings also. Feeling helpless, the second and third sections of the family had to ask some people from the village for help so they could finish the spring plow. When they were done with the spring plow, the first section was done with their work as well. The two families got very annoyed. They felt as if they had been set up. They knew clearly by this point that Ms. Fang was getting harder to deal with. Spring plow had just passed. Young Xiao was getting ready to be married to the family, so the first section of the Xiao family was going to be even busier for the days to come. But there were many helpers in the family, and due to the wedding of Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian which took place just a while ago, they were fairly familiar with the arrangement of the wedding this time. Besides, Ms. Fang had plenty of money now, and she was more confident and faster in getting everything done. The large and important stuff as well as the new room were all ready. The wedding reception had been well arranged, so was the guest lists. The meat, the vegetables and everything else was booked. Everyone was waiting for the wedding day to come. Those whom they needed for help were all informed. There was just one thing that remained to be done. Xiao Sanling was very honest and he treated young Xiao well. When he was done with the spring plow, he told Ms. Fang and eldest uncle that he was helping young Xiao and her family out. Young Xiao had been complaining to him all the time about what her brother and sister-in-law were like. Xiao Sanling had heard quite a lot about the couple's behavior as well. Spring plow and autumn harvest were top priorities throughout the year, and they were the most tiring errands as well. Young Liang and his wife were very lazy and loved to eat good food. So if they took the excuse of the spring plow and tried to ruin the wedding, that would be troublesome. So he just wanted to offer some help to press down the couple, so that he could get the girl home. After the girl came to his home, he would leave the couple alone and care nothing about them anymore. Married girls would always be spilled water, and even a brother could not interfere in his sister's-in-law's family. Actually, young Liang and his wife had been very annoyed by the spring plow. Ms. Tian kept forcing young Xiao to ask the Xiao family for help, but young Xiao ignored her and did not want to do anything about it. There was one time when she was slapped right on the face without being able to dodge it. As a result, she tripped over and skinned her arm. When third Grandma Yang was helping her put on the medicine, the girl, who had been so broad-minded and optimistic all this while, could not help but burst into tears. She had not yet married, and was being forced to ask her mother-in-law's family to help her brother with labor. What position would she have at her new home in future? How would she be able to face her mother-in-law as well as her sisters-in-law? So she did not listen to what Ms. Tian asked her to do, no matter what Ms. Tian said. But it was not so easy to ignore the issue. Third Grandma Yang promised to get involved, only because Ms. Fang had given her some gifts earlier. Moreover, she was in the right position to get involved in their family affairs as an elder. Chapter 199. Proud Ms. Tian. By this point, she had started to feel sorry for young Xiao. She sighed and consoled her. This girl was lucky after all, because the Xiao family was willing to accept her. When she was married, her life would surely get better. When Xiao Sanling offered help in the field, he solved all the problems immediately. People in the Yang village expressed their jealousy for young Xiao's luck. Some even regretted why they did not go to the Xiao family to ask about marital connection before the Yang family did. The Xiao family is such a good family that no one else will be able to exceed them. Xiao Sanling looks quite honest, but he treats Xiao so well. When I look carefully, I think he is very good looking. We all say that dumb people have their luck. Look at what young Xiao has got. Some were also feeling sour and jealous, and whispered amongst themselves. The Xiao family have to marry her because they already made the offer, otherwise who would want to be married to a family like that? True, young Liang and his wife are not easily driven away. They will always make trouble, which no one can stand. I wonder how Ms. Fang would treat young Xiao when she is married. Ms. Fang is a very fierce person. We can't really say that young Xiao is lucky for now. That is true. But no matter what the whispers were like, Yang Xiaoni was feeling happy, guilty and moved. She wanted to throw herself to Xiao Sanlang and promised to stay devoted to him thoroughly. Yang Liang and Ms. Tian were also very proud. Ms. Tian did not show any respect towards Xiao Sanlang. She kept buzzing around him, telling him to offer help whenever he could, and not to forget about their family later on. But the couple said nothing about Yang Xiaoni. Xiao Sanlang ignored and snorted at them as an agreement. They did not care about Xiaoni or what her life would be like, so he would not care about the couple either. He would not have shown up, but for the concern that the couple would change their mind about the wedding. 2 days before Xiao Sanlang's wedding, Xiao Xian, Ms. Su, Xiao Taotao were helping Ms. Fang get ready for Xiao Sanlang's wedding in the afternoon. When a silhouette rushed in suddenly, she threw herself to the ground on her knees, crying at Second Miss and kept kowtowing. Please help me, Second Mississippi. I am sorry for what I have done. I promise that I will do whatever you want me to do, but please take me back, Second Miss, please. The crying was loud and miserable. Xiao Xian and Ms. Fang as well as everyone else present there got startled. Xiao Xian was curious. Are you Lu Yan? Yes, I am. Lu Yan screamed even more loudly. Ms. Fang and the others had their eyes wide open, feeling absolutely shocked. No wonder the whole gang looked as if they had seen a ghost. The girl who was kowtowing in front of them was not like Lu Yan of the past. When Lu Yan first arrived here, she was lazy, arrogant, always well-dressed even though she was not wearing any special makeup. But her hair had always been combed neatly, and she had embroidered shoes as well as a handkerchief with flower patterns. However, this woman in front of them had unkempt hair, and was wearing shabby, old clothes with patches, which were apparently too small for her to wear. She was kowtowing so her face was not seen, but she must have suffered a great deal in the recent past. Chapter 200 Revenge. When she was kneeling in front of them, Lu Yan looked totally different. In fact, she resembled a refugee. Ms. Fang suddenly realized what had happened. She snorted slightly and then sneered. Xiao Xian gradually understood too. She cursed inwardly that it served her right. Ms. Niu seemed to have spared no efforts to torment Lu Yan. She must have ripped Lu Yan's clothes and given her what Xiao Meiling had already worn out. It could be seen clearly what life Lu Yan was leading when she was working for the second section of the family. Evil always received revenge. Alright, just stop crying. What rules do you have by crying so loudly in front of your master? Xiao Xian said calmly. Lu Yan's cry stopped suddenly, but she continued to sob. Okay, Second Miss, okay. She was no longer as arrogant as before. Second Miss was going to be her savior. She had realized that it completely depended on Second Miss whether she was going to be rescued from where she was now. Xiao Xian did not want Ms. Qiao and the others to see what she looked like currently, so she smiled at Ms. Fang. Mom, this servant doesn't seem to be in a good condition. I will take her somewhere else and ask her what is going on, so that she doesn't dirty the room. Ms. Fang nodded. Okay, do as you want. Then she sneered. It serves her right. She was arrogant, lazy and always greedy for food. Xiao Xian laughed. True, otherwise she would have continued to assume that everyone is as friendly as our family. Xiao Xian ordered Lu Yan to get up and took her to her wing room. Lu Yan, who had found the wing room so terrible earlier, believed that it was her safe bay at this moment. Lu Yan soon kneeled down and cried. Second Miss, please, I am sorry, please take me back. The second section of the family was so horrible that she never wanted to go back there. The first day she arrived there, she was ordered to get changed by Ms. Niu, who said that a servant did not deserve to have such good clothes. But those were not good clothes at all. They were just made of cotton. She had been sneering at them for being so narrow-sighted that they had never seen anything good. She could not help but look down upon Ms. Niu, who slapped her right on the cheek. She felt her ears buzzing, and had to obey whatever Ms. Niu said from then on. Ms. Niu and Xiao Meiling as well as the other members of that family kept ordering her to do all kinds of work, as if they had never ordered anyone before. What was more, she was overloaded with all kinds of housework. It included laundry, cooking, wood chopping, fire starting, dishwashing and yard sweeping. Apart from that, she was instructed to serve them tea, do massages and dig the ground in the yard with a shovel. If she failed to do anything, she would be scaled, beaten and slapped on the face. Just one day before, Xiao Meiling suddenly got annoyed and started to kick her. She was pushed to the ground and constantly kicked, before Xiao Meiling finally stopped. She suffered so terribly that she just could not get up. The moment she got up, Ms. Niu ordered her to start the fire and cook. Moreover, she was starved. She was fed only light porridge every single day. She did not even have a piece of pickle. Ms. Niu said that she was just a slave who deserved nothing more than porridge. Only then did she realize how happy her life had been when she was working for Second Miss, who gave her decent food. She was asked to sleep in the straw pile during the night, and had mosquito bites all over her body. She felt so itchy that she could not fall asleep at all. But that did not excuse her to rest the following day. She had to get up and continue to work. She had never understood how difficult life could be before this. Ms. Niu was very tricky, and kept her eye on her throughout the day. Her room was locked overnight, and she could not escape even if she wanted to. Chapter 201 Different Second Miss Lu Yan found a single chance to escape, so without hesitation, she hurried back to Second Miss home. She would have soon died if she did not escape. Ms. Niu and her whole family were monsters. Lu Yan begged as she cried heavily, expressing how miserable her life had been. She looked so pitiful. There was no change on Qiao Xian's face, and she stood there motionlessly. Okay. Qiao Xian interrupted her, after hearing that what Lu Yan said were just repetitions. She sneered. It seems that second aunt-in-law has taught you a good lesson. Now you are more prudent than before. Lu Yan stiffened as she felt a streak of coldness flashing across her heart. She started to shiver. She gasped and uttered no words. Qiao Xian sneered. I will bring you back to the Qiao family on the 15th day of August. But what are you going to tell Madame Qiao and Qiao Wei? Lu Yan was both happy and scared inwardly. It was not yet June and the 15th day of August was already so far away. But Lu Yan did not dare to counter her anymore. Instead, she said politely, I will not say anything bad about you, never. Oh really? Qiao Xian sneered and said calmly, but you will be out of my reach by that point. How can I trust you? Or, what can you give me so that I can trust you? Lu Yan was startled. I really won't. Second Miss, please believe me. Those are just bags of wind. Qiao Xian said coldly, you think I am soft-hearted and will answer to your request just because you beg me? You think that I am like before? Lu Yan's heart skipped a beat. She did not dare to look up when her thoughts were seen through. What on earth had her elder miss entrusted her to do? What made the second miss change so much? She had thought that just because she was given by Madame Qiao and elder miss, second miss would not do anything to her, and would even hail her to the sky. But now, it seemed that her dream of dominating the Xiao family had already broken, and one single farmer's wife had nearly driven her to death. She had told Ms. Niu and her family that she was given by Madame Qiao to the second miss, but Ms. Niu snapped. So, you are working for my niece daughter-in-law? Well then, she allows me to order you around, and so I shall. That made her totally speechless and helpless. She did not dare to say that she was the spy, otherwise she would have been killed. Qiao Xian snorted. I have to get a bargaining chip from you, right? Lu Yan suddenly felt that something bad was going to happen. She said in a shivering voice, Second Miss, just tell me what you need. Listen carefully, I want you to curse Madame Qiao and Xiao Wei, and I will write every word on the paper, and you need to make an imprint, sealing it. If you dare to say anything bad about me in the future, I will present the note to Xiao Wei. Even if she revealed some secrets to Xiao Wei, she would not forgive her when she heard something bad about her. Secondly, I want to hear 3 terrible things that Xiao Wei has done in secret, and I will write them down for you to put a thumbprint on as well. Thirdly, I want you to swear on your life and future that you will never reveal anything about me after you leave this village. Chapter 202 Bad Luck. Fourthly, get 1 handkerchief of yours and give it to me. You should have a few in your luggage, right? Qiao Xian said as she rolled up her sleeve and checked her arm. After a moment, she put it down and checked the other. She smiled. You have one black mole close to your left shoulder. I will bear that in mind. If you dare to set me up, I will hand over your handkerchief and tell the position of the mole to the hooligans in the town, who may use this information to get you to become their wife. Do you think that they will refuse such an opportunity? As long as someone holds the evidence and says that you and he are in a relationship, do you think that Madame Qiao will defend you or hand you out to the hooligans? The more she said, the paler Lu Yan became. When she was done, Lu Yan let out a cry and collapsed on the ground. Her heart was throbbing and she was in such a fright that she could not even get up. She leveled a frightened look at Xiao, feeling shocked. She had lost the last hope. This was not the obedient second miss she knew of, this second miss was evil. Xiao smiled as she looked at her calmly. You can either say yes or no to me. Accordingly, I will know if I should either send you back to my second aunt-in-law's home. So choose well. Xiao had no choice but to utter such harsh conditions. Lu Yan's contract was not in her hands. The moment she returned to the Qiao family, she would tell all kinds of stories about her. Hence, Xiao could not just believe her vows. She needed to gather all kinds of proofs to prevent this girl from harming her. Otherwise, the moment Xiao Wei learned about the real side of hers, she would never leave her alone. She was not in a position to fight against Xiao Wei. It would not work even if she found an excuse to keep Lu Yan for the mid-autumn day. That would make Xiao Wei feel that something was wrong, and she would refuse to stop spying on her. Lu Yan collapsed totally. She sobbed, shivering. I will do whatever you say, please. Second miss. She had no other choice. Xiao smiled. Good, you are teachable. Don't worry, I have no interest in your Madame Qiao. Elder Miss Qiao and you. As long as we live separate lives like in the past, then all would be fine. Xiao Wei doesn't necessarily need to know what I am like, and I can always lie to her, right? Don't be so nervous. Yes, she was very nervous, but there was nothing else she could do. Xiao did not think that Lu Yan would dare do anything bad after all of this. This was a good guarantee for her and the Xiao family to live a leisurely, free life. Tidy up, boil the water in the kitchen and take a bath. Get changed and then, we will sign the deal. Xiao left after saying this. Lu Yan collapsed with her hands over her chest, struggling to get up from the floor. She was having such a miserable time. Xiao came to Xiao Yunduan and narrated the whole thing to him. She needed Xiao Yunduan to write the agreement, since she was not so good at it. Moreover, Xiao Yunduan was the only person that had the right skills. Xiao Wei has Lu Yan's contract, so this is the only thing I can do to keep down Lu Yan. You won't think that I am too ruthless, right? Chapter 203. Ms. Fang alone. Xiao felt a bit anxious. She did not want Xiao Yunduan and the Xiao family to consider her as evil. She was an innocent person, and expected to live a peaceful, leisurely life. Evil and ruthless? Xiao Yunduan did not know what to say. His wife must have gotten a wrong idea of what ruthlessness meant. You are gentle enough, but she is already frightened, right? Xiao was surprised, but soon she replied with a smile. Yes. She is so timid and dumb. What I said was enough to frighten her. Xiao Yunduan smiled. Then that is good. Lu Yan was just boiling water in the kitchen when Ms. Niu came to the door. Are you at home, fifth niece-in-law? Lu Yan, who was already so good at boiling water in the kitchen, almost collapsed on her knees hearing the voice. She was really scared. Xiao knew exactly what Ms. Niu was doing here. But Lu Yan already received enough lessons, and she was not going to allow Ms. Niu to take her away again. She was her maid, and Ms. Niu had just borrowed her for a couple of days. Ms. Niu was very displeased right now when Xiao wanted to take her back, but there was nothing she could do. Most importantly, there was nothing she dared to do. Ms. Fang could drive her away to start with. Ms. Niu made some complaints about how lazy and greedy Lu Yan was whilst working for her. Before she left the place with an unconvinced heart, Lu Yan let out a sigh of relief in the kitchen, feeling alive again. Xiao and Xiao Yunduan soon got the agreement ready. Lu Yan shivered badly, but she had to cooperate. Xiao was satisfied when she had the bargaining chip ready in her hand. All right, just stay here and work for me. If you dare betray me, I will bring you down with me. Scared, Luyan shook her head and her hands trembled. No, no, I want. Luyan soon became very diligent. She chopped wood, swept the floor and started the fire without even being asked. She wanted to take over all kinds of work. She was suddenly so proactive. Qiao Xian watched the whole thing calmly, but Ms. Fang pursed her lips, not feeling so good towards that maid. This maid was a bitch, who had yielded after being disciplined by Ms. Niu. The following day was Xiao Sanlang and Yang Xiani's wedding. At lunchtime, Xiao Xiaoqi came from outside cheerfully, telling everyone that he had set 3 traps in the place a couple of days ago where wild boars might appear. When he went into the mountains and took a look around, he saw a large-sized wild boar in the trap. It was too heavy for him to carry. So he came home to fetch some helpers. Mom, the wild boar is really big. It weighs at least 100 kilograms. There will be one more kind of dish served at the wedding tomorrow. Xiao Xiaoqi was so happy about it. So was the whole family. Xiao Sanlang was so thrilled that he returned an excited greeting. Brother, thank you so much. It is going to be great. You are welcome, third brother. Everyone would like to have a flourishing wedding. Xiao Sanlang had a lot of savings and knew that his mother had some too, but the money was earned without letting their father know, so they could not spend it in front of everyone. Fifth brother had just held his wedding, and the cost was very high. So if they spent too much on another wedding, the situation would look obviously suspicious. That would not be good. They had the savings, and they could use it slowly for their own pleasure, which was beneficial and full of pleasure. But a wild boar was another issue. That wild boar weighed more than 100 kilograms. It should be a big thing. Chapter 204 Good luck hence. He fetched some villagers to carry the wild boar home. The second and the third section of the family also went to help. If they refused to offer some assistance, they might not be given any share in the meat later. Xiao Erlang and Xiao Siling both went to help, as did second uncle and third uncle who wanted to check what was going on. The two families got so jealous. Why was a wild boar caught at this time? They would not be given much meat when the wild boar was caught at this moment. They would have received dozens of kilos at any other time of the year. Ms. Ma pursed her lips. She must have done this on purpose, right? In the afternoon, the wild boar was carried home, and many villagers came to the house to watch it, saying that the first section of the Xiao family was so lucky to have gotten a wild boar on this occasion. It was perfect for the wedding to take place the next day. They became even more cheerful when they thought that they could have a taste of the meat here. With the help from the villagers, the wild boar was quickly disemboweled, chopped and broken down into pieces. It was very cold in the mountains and the meat was so fresh. Even after one night, the meat would still remain good. Ms. Fang was very generous. She gave 1 kilo of meat to every helper. She gave 1.5 kilograms to the second and the third section of the family, as well as a pig foot for each family. Of course, they wanted to have it all. Ms. Niu even tried to sneak one into her bag, but she was spotted by Xiao Taotao, who screamed, "What are you doing, second aunt?" Xiao Taotao's scream drew everyone's attention. Ms. Fang sneered inwardly and asked Ms. Su and Xiao Taotao to put away the meat on the board, saying with a smile, "Second sister-in-law, thank you for trying to help, but we can put everything away ourselves. Just go home and rest, so you can come and help us with the wedding on the following day." They had to help with the wedding, otherwise they would be blamed. The first section of the family did not care about their help, but she still asked for it. Ms. Niu said timidly, Okay, I know." She sneaked a look at Xiao Taotao and turned around. Ms. Niu mumbled inwardly, cursing the girl for being so bold nowadays. She never dared to counter her in the past. She was so angry. It was never easy to deal with the inner organs, which required a lot of seasonings, so the other families were not interested in the task. But Xiao Xian's cooking skills in dealing with inner organs were all approved by the family. Xiao Xian did not disappoint them either. She made a table full of good dishes in the evening. The pork liver was cut into small pieces and marinated with various seasonings. Then the slices were wrapped in net oil into egg-sized pieces and slowly fried in the oil pan. This kind of dish required a lot of effort, but the end result was very tasty. When it was fried, the smell was so good that Qiao Xian asked Xiao Xiaoqi, Xiao Taotao and her niece and nephew to fry and eat at the same time. The dinner was warm and fresh, salty and fragrant. The pork loin was stir-fried with garlic sprouts and green peppers, and the large intestine was still stir-fried with pickles such as sour, spicy and crispy radish and beans. The pig's trotters were stewed first, and then put in the pot to make a sweet and sour dish. Chapter 205 Shameless. This soup was used to cook processed pig heart, pig blood, small intestine, pig stomach and pig liver. Chopped garlic sprouts, shallots, and ginger pieces were added to cook a large bowl of delicious and rich hodgepodge. Qiao Xian processed every piece very carefully and even washed them with flour. She put in a lot of rice wine, star anises, gingers, pepper so there was no strange smell in the end. The wild boar was so large, and the inner organs could not be finished in just one dinner. So Qiao Xian asked Ms. Su to cut them into slices, deep fry them and stew with chilies so that a jar of chili sauce could be preserved for 8 or 10 days. There was one big pig head that was roasted over fire and dried in the shadow for future braising. Early the next morning, the first section of the Xiao family got very busy. Ms. Fang had everything arranged neatly, so things went on smoothly. Qiao Xian's job was to help Ms. Fang in receiving relatives and getting to know them, whilst checking and urging those helpers from the second and third section of the family to work harder in case they messed things up. Qiao Xian was pleased with the task and nodded happily. Qiao Xian did not allow Lu Yan to show up on wedding day. She was ordered to stay in the wing room. A lot of helpers were asked to give a helping hand at the wedding, so they had plenty of labor forces. Lu Yan was a ticking bomb that should not show up in public. Lu Yan was very interested in watching the wedding of a village, but Qiao Xian did not allow her to do so, and she did not dare to counter the order. She had already understood what Second Miss could do, so she did not object. Second Miss did not even need to do anything about her personally. All she would do was to throw her to the second section of the family, and she would be engulfed in endless misery. Dressed in a red robe, Xiao Sanling the groom smiled stupidly. He went to the Yang family to fetch his bride. He was riding on the donkey, surrounded by the reception team. Xiao Dalong, Xiao Yinduan, Xiao Xiaoqi as well as the sons from the second section of the family and young men from the village all tagged along. Xiao Lulang did not show up. According to third uncle, he was working very hard in college and should not be distracted. After all, he had made plenty of progress and did not want to be disturbed. Eldest uncle understood it completely. Being able to read was very important, because it was related to what the future would look like for them. Ms. Fang snorted and rolled her eyes. It was just an excuse. It did not take much effort to attend a wedding. Even the emperor was not as busy as he was. He must feel humiliated to come over. Yinduan was already a cultivated talent, yet he was nothing more than a disciple. He was afraid of being compared. He would have still come over, if Yinduan's wife was not the daughter of the county magistrate. Ms. Fang thought that her husband was so stupid that believed what third uncle said. Young Xiani's wedding gown was delivered by a messenger from Ms. Fang's side. It was delivered directly to third Grandma Yang's home, so she could help young Xiaoni get dressed on the wedding day. When third Grandma Yang, together with some relatives, brought the gown to her home, Miss Tian's face sank. Miss Tian knew clearly that she was the one that they were trying to hide from. Young Xiaoni was finally moving out of home as a bride, with the help of third Grandma Yang and the other relatives. But Miss Tian kept crying loudly. She kept saying that she and her husband had spent so much effort in raising young Xiaoni, and helped her get married by finding a good family. Her point was that young Xiaoni should come home often enough to visit her brother and sister-in-law. Chapter 206 Not an easy deal. Hearing those words, Yang Liang did feel a bit moved, and could not help but rub his eyes. The couple's behavior disgusted the whole audience. Despite the disgusted feelings, the members from the Yang family could not help but tell her to stay assured. However, Xiao Sanling did not restrain himself and embarrassed Ms. Tian and Yang Liang, seeing that his wife was already in the litter. Brother, sister-in-law, Xiao Sanling said with a smile. I feel so moved that you treat Xiaoni well. Kindly show us the dowry, so we can go to do the ceremony. We can't miss the right hour, can we? Suddenly silence dominated the whole place. Miss Tian, who was shedding tears, burst out. There is no dowry. You told us that we did not have to offer any dowry. You are breaking the promise. Xiao Sanlang rolled his eyes in an exaggerated way and said mockingly, we did say so, but we thought that you care about Xiaoni so much that you are crying so hard and are willing to push the dowry into her hands. Ha 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 ha. Ah ha ha ha. The villagers who were watching the show could not help but chuckle, so did the reception team, who laughed along. Both Yang Liang and Miss Tian were thoroughly embarrassed. Miss Tian glared at Xiao Sanlang and showed no expression of unwillingness to let her sister-in-law go. Xiao Sanlang felt much better seeing her showing the real look. He added, so, are you giving us the dowry or not? You love Xiaoni, don't you? You can show some sincerity after all. Annoyed, Yang Liang snapped. We are too poor to offer you any dowry. Xiao Sanlang laughed. Well, it depends on whether you have the intention. You can give us the money if you have it. If you are too poor to give us any money, you can offer a wardrobe, a table, a basin or a bucket made from the trees in the mountains. We won't turn any of it down. Seeing how you are dressed, you don't look that poor either. Yang Liang was stuck with words. He glared at Xiao Sanlang, just as Ms. Tian did. Any poor family would at least offer some garments or furniture to the married daughter, if they really loved her. Ms. Tian and Yang Liang were a rarely seen set of family. The Xiao family did not care about the dowry, as they already said that they did not need any. But it was annoying when the family offered nothing whilst pretending to play the drama that they loved the bride. It was disgusting. How could they get away with the cheap deal of wanting to keep both reputation and stuff as well? Xiao Sanlang was a down-to-earth person, but he could not stand being disgusted to this level. Seeing that the purpose was almost achieved, Xiao Yunduan said, Third brother, let's leave, we should not miss the right hour. Xiao Sanlang chuckled. Okay, let's go. Without even looking at Yang Liang and Miss Tian, the team took off. The villagers from the Yang family exchanged a look between themselves and also left. The couple was thoroughly humiliated. But it served them right, since they were the ones who tried to take advantage of others first. Chapter 207. Grudge. Yang Liang and his wife became so annoyed that they slapped the door shut. I am so annoyed, so annoyed. The Xiao family are behaving over the top. I am definitely going to take revenge. Miss Tian was so irritated that she kept crying loudly. Some nosy villagers understood that Miss Tian would hold a grudge over the matter. So they leaned against the door of Yang Liang's home and listened. Miss Tian, who was irritated beyond measure, kept cursing. After a while, the listeners rolled their eyes, snapped disdainfully and shared the gossip with the fellow villagers. It was a bustling scene at the first section of the Xiao family at this moment. They were not affected by the Yang family at all. Ms. Fang was a very cautious, economic person. She added some money so that the wedding looked really good. The melon seeds, peanuts and tea were constantly served. The dried fruits were a little expensive, but Ms. Fang did not want the dried fruits to stand out, so she refilled the box every third hour. 4 kinds of dried fruits were bought, namely preserved apricots, candied dates, hawthorn cake, green and red fruit slices. All of them were so popular that they were eaten up the moment they were served. Xiao followed Ms. Fang to greet relatives and friends. Everyone knew about her identity, and many had attended her wedding. But she was a prestigious presence in front of the villagers, who could not help but glance at her again and again. She was very friendly, and no one could find a fault in her. Instead, they found her different from many ladies in the village. They whispered to each other, saying that she was polite, friendly and behaved well, and also that she looked so pretty and had a special air around her. In the end, they could not help but conclude that the daughter of Officer Qiao was indeed outstanding. There was even a sense of faint jealousy. The first section of the Xiao family was really lucky and was definitely going to get richer. Xiao Yunduan was already the cultivated talent. Moreover, he was the son-in-law of Officer Qiao, so his future was definitely going to be promising with such a father-in-law behind his back. The guests, who heard those words, felt sour and emotional. They were all friends and relatives and kept giving compliments to the Xiao family on this happy day. Only Ms. Ma felt aggrieved inside her heart. Xiao Yunduan was just lucky, that was all. Soon her son was going to be more skilled and knowledgeable than Xiao Yunduan. It was just that he got sick during the examination so that Xiao Yunduan took his place. But for Xiao Yunduan's success of becoming cultivated talent and saving Officer Qiao's daughter, he would not have gotten a wife like this. If her own son became the cultivated talent, then Xiao Yunduan would be nothing. So even if Xiao Yunduan saved Qiao Xian, Officer Qiao would not have married his daughter to him. She even imagined the scene of accepting her, for the sake of Officer Qiao, and she would have taught her to behave well. If only such a thing had happened. If they could get related to the Qiao family, her son would definitely get promoted, and she would be in full charge of Qiao Xian's generous dowry. Moreover, she would even be invited as a guest at the county magistrate's home during all kinds of festivals, and maybe would have shared a meal with her daughter-in-law's family. She would have gotten to know many noble families, who would always come handy as useful connections for them in the future. Chapter 208. Out of dream. In this way, her own family would have flourished as well. Ms. Ma found her dream getting more and more realistic. The more realistic it seemed, the more annoyed she felt about the truth she had to face, when she realized where she was at the moment. Seeing that Ms. Fang was not within sight, Ms. Ma suddenly thought of an idea. Ms. Ma went to those relatives and friends who did not seem to get on well with Ms. Fang, and started to reveal some secrets about Ms. Fang. She did not dare to say anything about Qiao Xian, since she was in a high position. No one from the village had any idea of how Qiao Xian was actually treated at home. But she dared to say something about Ms. Fang. She just favors this daughter-in-law of hers. Look at Ms. Su, who has to work so hard from early morning. She has to do laundry, sweeping the floor, chopping, carrying water, starting a fire and cooking. After she makes breakfast, she has to go into the fields for heavy labor. She is so busy every single day. But look at Miss Qiao, she needs to do nothing. It is only because Miss Qiao has money. She is definitely going to take hold of the dowry of Miss Qiao. This Miss Qiao is so stupid as to still defend her and respect her as if she were her own mother. You know how much they offered to Sanlang for him to get the wife? 20 liang. Since when did they get so generous? They have just hosted Wang's wedding and now they are able to give 20 liang to the Yang family. Everyone knows where the money is coming from. But they don't want to loan any money to us, even though they are living a luxurious life. They are so hard-hearted. Just wait and see, when Sanlang's wife moves in, the new daughter-in-law will definitely be very unhappy about her mother-in-law's blatant preference towards Miss Qiao. Dalong is very honest, and doesn't dare to utter a word when his wife is bullied, but Sanlang is different. Those aunts' biggest pastime was to gossip about the family relationships of different families. They were most fascinated by how those family disputes were conducted. Since they felt a bit jealous about the first section of the Xiao family, and did not like Ms. Fang much, they were all excited to hear what Ms. Ma told them. So the whole group got together and gossiped vigorously, with their eyes sparkling. But Qiao Xian caught every word spoken even though she was standing far away. Disgusted, Qiao Xian told herself inwardly that this third aunt-in-law of hers had again lost her control of her tongue, despite being disciplined by her mother-in-law just a while ago. Did she think that her words would separate her and her mother-in-law, or that her elder brother and her elder sister-in-law would be dissatisfied with her? Did she think that she could break down her family? Well, she was dreaming. Elder brother was an obedient and honest person, and she could easily buy elder sister-in-law. Third brother was a broad-minded person and she had met his wife, Yang Xiaoni, who seemed to be generous as well. Her family would get increasingly better, and she did not think that anything bad would happen. Third aunt-in-law. Qiao Xian smiled and stepped forward. What are you talking about? I am interested in listening to it too. What are you doing here? Ms. Ma got startled seeing Qiao Xian coming over all of a sudden. People who gossiped behind people's backs always felt guilty. Qiao Xian blinked and smiled. I seem to hear that you are talking about me and Mom. So, I also want to hear your story in detail. Chapter 2091 Meal or 2 Mom also likes listening to your talks. Third aunt-in-law. What about getting her here to listen to your story too? Ms. Ma had no idea how much Xiao had heard, and her face changed. But she did not admit that she had talked badly about them, so she forced a smile. Your mom is busy today, there is no need to fetch her here. It is fine. Xiao smiled. Mom can arrange everything well, neatly and properly. My elder sister-in-law is capable too, and she helps our mother relieve a lot of burden. Mom is not at all busy. The relatives were very afraid of Ms. Fang, but they did not seem to be scared about the young Xiao. Someone said half-jokingly, it seems that your elder sister-in-law is very tired with a lot of work. Why not help her? Wouldn't she protest against you for not being able to help her? Everyone laughed. True, wouldn't she feel annoyed? Xiao smiled. Elder sister-in-law is very capable. Of course she won't say any such thing. I have just bought dozens of mu of land, and planted many things. But I don't have any knowledge about how to plant those things, so I hired elder brother, elder sister-in-law, and third brother to help me, paying them 30 yen a day. We will be planting some more mushrooms soon, and they will have to help me again. What? 31? That is too much. The relatives' eyes widened. They suddenly realized why Ms. Su had no opinion against Xiaoxian's behavior. The couple could earn 60 yen a day, which even though did not come every single day, but Xiaoxian's land needed to be taken care of on a regular basis, and every time she required help, she paid them. Moreover, they were not living separately yet, so what she harvested from the land would also be shared. Oh man, she was so rich. With so much money coming to them, they would definitely ignore small things like dishwashing or floor sweeping. All the relatives became so jealous and motivated that they started to treat Xiaoxian nicely. Xiaoxian smiled as she talked about how excellent Ms. Fang and Ms. Su were. Ms. Ma's face turned pale while she stood next to them. Xiaoxian sneered inwardly. But for third brother's wedding that took place today, she was definitely going to pass on this message to her mother-in-law, who would again teach Ms. Ma a lesson. She needed to be disciplined many times until she finally understood what she ought to do and what not. She would eventually understand, after she was taught the lesson enough times. Soon the reception team arrived, and the atmosphere became lively. They cheered, laughed, and played around. It was a cheerful scene. The couple went through the process and the kitchen got busy again. The scent that came from the dishes caused people to drool. Everyone got very excited and looked forward to the wild boar meat at the banquet. There were 8 dishes being served at the wedding banquet. Normally, only 2 meat dishes were served due to the poverty. But today, the dishes were more than good. The dishes included roasted chicken with mushrooms, stewed meat with dried beans, fried wild boar with green pepper and garlic sprouts, roasted tofu, yam fungus, fried bean and eggplant with minced meat, tofu and cabbage soup, which was boiled with wild boar bones and trotters for a long time. So a large pot of broth was produced. There was a bowl of 8 treasure rice too. Xiao had thought about serving a dish of braised fish, but Ms. Fang did not think that the chief cook would be able to do the dish. Moreover, the dish required too much oil and a bone might get stuck in some child's throat, making it troublesome. Therefore, they gave up the idea. Chapter published at 4th of April, 2023, 6:28 and 34 seconds AM. Chapter 210. 210 Greedy Xiao Yunduan. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. 210 Greedy Xiao Yunduan. Xiao complimented Ms. Fang for being considerate and dropped the idea of making the dish. When the banquet was served, everyone gobbled down the dishes and emptied everything. Xiao realized that Ms. Fang had been totally right. The villagers barely had a chance to eat meat, and those with some money would at most eat meat once or twice a month, never over 3 times. So when the banquet was served in the village, they never stopped themselves from eating as much as they could. When the meat dishes were served, the guests went up and kept putting the dishes into their bowls, and started to relish them slowly. Some did not even want to finish them totally, but took some home. The wedding was held really successfully. The 3 bowls of meat dishes contained plenty of meat, and only a small amount of side vegetable dishes. Meat was seen in other dishes too, apart from tofu and yam dishes. The guests were really satisfied by the food and the bowls were all emptied, leaving nothing behind, not even the soup. When the last batch of guests was seen off, the things borrowed for the wedding were returned. The whole family ate along with the helpers, who left after dinner. The day did not come to an end until they tidied up everything. It was already quite late. Xiao did not do much labor work, but she felt quite tired, let alone Ms. Fang and Ms. Qiao. After she washed herself up, she felt relaxed and started to yawn. She felt so sleepy. I am so sleepy. I need to go to bed now, she yawned widely. With her eyes half opened, she greeted Xiao Yunduan and pulled the blanket over her, before falling asleep immediately. Standing by the bedside, Xiao Yunduan looked at her face and felt a bit dizzy in his head. It was like a dream. It had been just 2 months since his own wedding was held, and at that time, he was not feeling so relaxed, nor was she. Moreover, he remembered how the suicide took place on their wedding night. But he had not expected that he and she lived such a good life since that point. He had also not expected that her arrival brought tremendous changes to the family. It was just 2 months, but for him it seemed like a lifetime. It felt that he was used to having her at home and in his room, next to him when he laid down. Xiao Yunduan suddenly felt a bit greedy, as the emotions hit him hard. He believed that if they could live on like this, life would not be that bad either. Early the next morning, Yang Xiaoni served the tea to the family and addressed each member of the family with a new title. From that moment on, the whole family accepted her formally. Yang Xiaoni was very diligent, and did not need to be told to do the work properly. Ms. Fang smiled brightly. She would have definitely thrown a fit, if she paid so much and was still humiliated by a daughter-in-law who was lazy and greedy. She was the mother-in-law and she could discipline any daughter-in-law who annoyed her. At this time, the taro, corn, soybeans, peanuts in the fields needed to be weeded, and the bamboo forests needed to be taken care of a little, so Xiao Dalong and Ms. Su went into the field for work. Yang Xiaoni was used to doing labor work, so even if she had just gotten married, she was not used to idling around at home. She fetched Xiao Sanlang and took him to the field for work as well. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.